You're tuning into the Wild, Weird, and Sometimes Normal podcast. If you have a story or a guest recommendation that you think others need to hear, email me at wildweirdandsometimesnormal@gmail.com. Let's get this started. Alex and Brett, kick it!
Wild. Wild. Weird. And sometimes wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. Wild. Weird. And sometimes normal.
Are you looking to buy a home in New Jersey, escape the city and move to the suburbs? Finally purchase a vacation home on the lake or down the shore? Maybe you're one of the lucky ones who are retiring and moving out of state. If so, let me help you. Keller Williams and the Real Estate Professional Group have what you need to make your goals come true. Reach out and have a conversation with someone who will put you first. Contact Brian McCoach at 856-321-1212 or email brianmccoach@kw.com. Welcome to another episode of Wild, Weird, and Sometimes Normal. I'm your host, Brian, and today my guest is three-time returning champion, Joe, my twin, Fadule. What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy?
Thank you for coming on. So I know all the weirdos. I don't know what my cult following is called. The three people that listen, I don't know what they're called. But for anybody who hasn't heard Fadule's episode, my friend, my neighbor, known him for several years now. I call him my twin because we are born on the same day, the same year. So he has stolen all of my favorite numbers. Whenever I play the lottery, I'm probably have to share with him because he's playing the exact same numbers. It's a little heartbreaking because I was like, when I hit the lottery, it's just going to be me swimming in a pile of money. But I guess, the next best thing is swimming in a pile of money with a friend.
Well, I think I'm technically older than you two because I was born at 9:44 a.m. I don't think you even remember what time you were born.
It was in the afternoon, so it was not 9:44 a.m. So you are a seasoned veteran of this world. I look to you for advice and guidance and what landmines not to step on. It's been...
Demand respect. Demand respect. I'm your elder, so yeah. Hope we get some of that today.
So since we always have the most riveting conversations, breaking news, this is the last episode of my podcast. I am shutting this down. This has been a great year and a half run. The government has gotten to me. They have bought me off, and I am moving on to greener pastures.
Really?
Yep. I got a promotion at my
for your show, didn't you? You didn't even tell me.
I didn't know. This is a surprise. I wanted the real reaction from you, so I've gotten it. So at some point, whenever I do join TikTok and give the Chinese all my information, they will be able to see your real life reaction to what was happening.
Wow. Well, why is that happening?
So I have a 9-to-5 job. I'm sure you piece it together through all the other episodes, whatever I've done. But they gave me a decent promotion where I probably am not going to have any free time the rest of my life.
I know. So
one of those things that we'll give you a couple pennies more if you give us the rest of your life. And I was, hey, that sounds great. I'll take a couple pennies.
Wow. Well, what you should have done, I was actually going to talk to you, say maybe you could do a weekend show every so often, in an afternoon, maybe get some drinks in us before we start, make it actually fun.
So not
that it's fun. That sounded horrible.
So this being the last episode probably is, if you subscribe to my feed, there will be episodes popping up in the future because I can't just stop this, man. This is too much fun. But the 10, 20, 30 hours a week that I put into this to find guests, it's easier to text your friend hey man, you coming on tomorrow? But to find people want to talk about UFOs or Bigfoot or their music careers, whatever it might be, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes in, and I suck at promotion, but there is a lot that goes into that. I'm sure I could do a lot more, but the recording, the editing, the finding people, the follow-ups, all that stuff, that's 10 to 30 hours a week that I'm just not going to have.
Yeah, and you have a new brick wall behind you. And where are you doing the show out of?
So I'm in my underground bunker. This is part of where the government has swept me off to. So with that, I broke down my amazing podcast studio that I had, which was in the corner of my living room. And now I have moved this to the corner of a family room type of deal. So for coming back for shooting, I broke this down 5 minutes before we started recording. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do all this? And I realized that everything's just plugged into one thing. And I don't know why I was so stuck in that area anyway, with this beautiful white brick wall behind me. So I think we definitely get some weekend shows, maybe get some other people to pop in and we can, maybe have a little bit of little apple juice beforehand and get all juiced up and see where the conversation goes.
Yeah. So let's see. It's not the last show. You already lied to us. We've been on for.
If you've been listening for the last 70 something episodes, there's lots of stuff that comes out of my mouth. But this will be the last official weekly show. So we are coming out the last week of July will be the official last weekly show.
All right. Well, I'm touched. Well, you probably just wanted the easiest person to get on. I like how you
like,
always introduce me as, this great. I'm just your neighbor.
Some dude I barely know.
Silver episode.
Yeah. We've had some of the best conversations. Our end of the year wrap up was so much fun. I enjoyed that, just going through all the madness. I did have somebody tell me that they like just listening to our podcast over and over. So we had some pretty good numbers. And I was like, wow, like, man, like Fadule's like killing it. And then I was talking to somebody and they're like, I just like listening to you guys before I go to sleep. Like, I just like your rhythm and everything you have. I was like, oh, so one person has listened to us a bunch of times.
Who? Well,
I don't want to throw them on the bus. I don't want to embarrass them. They know who they are. I appreciate them listening. So this will be now they have 3 episodes they can go through to help them fall asleep. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if that was a compliment. I'm like, hey, I really like to listen to you so I can just pass out.
Not bad. It puts me to sleep. I can't wait to tune in.
Yeah. So since we always have riveting conversations, as I was setting this up and coming on, I had my goggles on because I can't see anymore. I hit 42 years old, 43 years old, 43. So I hit 42 and a half, and I suddenly could not see anymore. Like I went from great vision, perfect vision to like, I just couldn't fucking see anymore, man. It was over. So now I got these goggles and the guy's like, hey man, like how old are you? And he's like, yeah, just wrong side of 40, man. That's what happens. He's like, let me put these beginner glasses on you. He's like, it's like the lowest thing, but it's like reading glasses for the most part. I started that in February. From February until July, I am close to being fucking blind now. These people have ruined my eyesight that like I cannot see my phone. Before it used to be after 6 p.m. my vision was shot. After 8 p.m. like good luck reading a text message. And now it's like noon and I have to like shine it in the light. I'm this 90-year-old with like I'm like zooming into the text message. So there's like one word just on the screen and it's fucking terrible. So then I was gonna say, I'm falling apart, man. I'm falling apart. So I saw you and I was like, oh, I've never seen you in glasses. Like maybe you don't wear them. But then I saw as you were texting something before we came on, it seemed like it was a little close to your eyes and seemed like it was a certain angle so you could see it. And you know,
oh, literally it was just I just had my elbows on the desk. So it's not, I mean, ready your profile.
Oh, look at that's a mile away. I would not be able to do that. Like I'm like Mr. Magoo now. I feel like the big glasses industry.
Put them on for you?
No, that's fine because I put them on with this and it squishes my ear. But I feel like the big glasses industry like finally snookered me in, and now I'm screwed, man.
Yeah, I actually got a new pair, and they actually gave me sunglasses too that are prescriptions. Now I'm one of those annoying people that has their prescription sunglasses that has to know where they're at all times. And when we go to the lake, I care about these glasses more than any family members or anything. So
you need to clip them on the top and then flip them up like the Chris Farley.
That'll be the day I kill myself.
I can't wait for that. So my wife has always had glasses for as long as I've known her. She wears contacts. And I just didn't understand. Like I didn't get it, but I was like, I can never touch my eyeball. Like, thank God I don't have this. And then we talk about LASIK every once in a while. But I was like, I just don't think there's enough data like for them to zap my eyes. They've been doing it it's been like probably 50 years now or something. But I'm still like at 50 years in one day, maybe your eyes melt. Like that's like one of the most important. Like if I can't fucking see, man, like this is terrible. As I can't see. But now 6 months of glasses, I am ready. I'm like fucking LASIK. Like which doctor? I don't care. Like something.
So now are you sad when you go look at the fake moon outside? Does it look blurrier than it used to?
So I can see through it. So I sent you an article yesterday. Rarely do I prep for any of these shows whatsoever. I don't give people talking points or anything. Our end of the year show, I did send you a list of stuff because that was the end of the year. Like we had to get prepped and not just like, hey, what happened? Oh, I don't fucking know when that happened. Oh, that was 2018, whatever. So I sent you a thing yesterday and NASA, the fucking lies of NASA. The more I've done this show, I went from being like a closeted crazy person. I was the Tom Cruise of crazy people, the John Travolta of crazy, but I was just like, I'm going to stay in the closet here. I'm okay. Like I'll let stuff slip out. The more I do this, I am ready for this platform. NASA is such a lies. I sent you a CNN article yesterday that they detected a molecule. I don't know how far it was. I didn't even read the inside of the article. The headline was they detected a molecule for the first time outside of our solar system on a planet that rains glass.
Yeah, I didn't even till just now. I thought that was a joke you sent me. I didn't know it was a real thing.
That was a real CNN article. That is such bullshit. There is no way they can know. NASA is something like $50 million a day that they spend. I am furious that we have given them this money since the 60s, since the 50s, whenever NASA got formed. late 50s, 60s, whenever we decided to bring over the Nazis and start NASA. I am furious that we have just given them a blank check all the time and none of it is real. Like zero of it. Before I would like, oh, I was like, oh, actually, good.
No, go ahead. I was going to tell
I was
you.
gonna say, like, oh, like we definitely went to the moon, but like the footage is fake. And then I see this, and we can't go back to the moon. And the only technology in the whole world that has gotten worse, in the entire existence of technology in the world, the only technology that has gotten worse has been the technology to go to the moon. Like we lost it, we forgot how to do it, we can't duplicate it. You can't duplicate technology from 1970, from 1960. Like that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. So it means they can't get out of here. They're spending the money on something, and then they make shit up. In the late 90s, early 2000s, it was like we didn't even know if there's other planets in the solar system. Now, every month, every 2 months, oh, we found 50 planets. Oh, we found another star. We found those. That's cool. I'm in for that. But now they're going, not only did we find another star that has a little speck of light that we only knew that there was a planet because we stared at the star and there was a gajillionth of a blip of light. And so we knew that was a planet going by. That's how they fucking do it. And now they're going, because of that light, they measure that there's raining glass. They just give people, this is the Marvel universe for space. They just give you whatever you want. Do you want a superhero? You know, the Fantastic Four, the guys on fire. Hey, there's somebody who likes fire. Hey, here's Mr. Freeze and the Incredibles. Here's people who like ice. It is, you pick what you want, man. It is the frozen yogurt place of just put all the toppings. Furious. Because it is so obvious.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the difference between you and me, though. So I agree with you that there's a lot of it that's total bullshit. But I don't get furious. I don't really care. But here's the thing that just makes me like, because there's all like flat earthers, and I think you're one, but you just won't fully admit it.
I'm the closest I've ever been to admitting it. I'm the closest I've ever been because such bullshit, man.
Right. That's why you're quitting the show. Casey doesn't know who you are anymore.
Yeah.
But
she knows all my insanity. She knows all of it.
Yeah. That's why I think you said at your living room, she stuffed you in the basement. That's why.
I wish I had a basement.
But no, like they have the technology to find a molecule on a planet that's billions of miles away. Yet, why can't we just get a real picture of the planet?
Because it's flat, man.
But that's not really what? No, that's a dumb answer. Because it's
you're flat curious. You're flat curious here. Why can't they give us a real picture? Why can't we get?
No, it's the thing too. Flat Earth people always talk about all the denying everything and how all the circle pictures or globe pictures, I should say, are CGI and all this. But then they don't have any. Go take a picture. Like, why not?
So this is the hard part. This is the hard part with all of it, because you don't know what's a real video or not. And watch the Avengers, and if I put that on the news, like, tell me that's not happening. Like, if you didn't realize you were watching a movie, like the CGI is so good now. Go back and watch Jurassic Park, and you're like, that's a fucking fake ass puppet and animatronic. But like, watch the stuff now. Gollum is amazing. Like all this stuff. So you see a new video, you see whatever it is, and if it's not coming from like a .gov, like, how do you know it's true? And well, they're lying to you, so that's not true. But there are flat Earth people who send up balloons and like GoPro, and then we'll put rockets with GoPros on them, and they go up. I forget how high it goes, but they're like the horizon's still level. Like, you're not like up here, you should see the curve. But again, I don't know if somebody's made that in their basement or if they did it. But why can't NASA? Neil deGrasse Tyson on Rogan said, "Oh, the Earth isn't a perfect sphere. It's more like a pear, and it bulges in the middle at the equator." Like, well, then where's that picture? Like, and how do you know that? So like, somebody who is of authority is saying the Earth is not a ball. Like, just give me that picture.
All I cared about, my pears. I mean, my pears bulge at the bottom. What kind of fucking pears do you have?
Yeah, so I guess maybe it's narrow at the top and then goes kind of fat, but it's like the skinny fat, and the bottom's like fat.
All right, so it stays fat is what I didn't listen to the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing.
It was a while ago, but he brings that shit up. But like
I did listen to who's the other dude that went nuts? Not nuts. The
Terrence Howard.
Yeah, I listened to some of that. That was crazy stuff. He seems like a beautiful mind or something, but again, like you said, I don't know if he's full of shit or if he's real. But I just think that all this crap, somebody could have gotten a picture of something better. If we can get a molecule on some raining planet that doesn't exist, why can't we get a photograph of our actual planet?
I don't know. And I don't know. So like the flat Earth, and like, we're going to fall off the edge, or like, on the bottom is like this rocky thing hanging. Like, I don't think anybody knows that. I don't think anybody who truly believes in flat Earth like thinks that. I just think that they think the shape of the Earth is a lie. That's not a complete ball. And if it is, it's a hell of a lot bigger than we've ever been told.
I'm fine. I just don't get the fighting about it. Like, what? Why lie about it? That's what I like. Why does everyone keep the lie going? And
because
now you've
there's
done
yeah,
it for so long, you don't want to look stupid. That
I don't know.
yeah,
Or there's so the more we go on this, and they talk about and this all kind of ties in together with like the aliens and everything, and they're like, oh well, you know, some of them being like interdimensional possibly, and like that like kind of like blows my mind as I think about that. So if there's like this 3D physical object, allegedly people have touched them or worked on them, whatever it is, and they're coming from a different dimension. Like, what does that dimension look like? So like a 2D dimension is a drawing on a paper, the 3D dimension we're in right now, and then 4D is like you were looking at a cube, you would see inside of the cube and like all the angles at the same time. It's kind of like a cube within a cube. It's like hard to think about. So the more you go up, the more you're seeing these different things. And I get like the UFOs aren't filling up with gas. I understand it's not gasoline at the gas station, but they have to fuel with something. So like, what does their Sunoco look like? And like, what does their Wegmans or ShopRite look like? What are they doing? I just don't understand this concept. And then you see gray aliens in a 3D as like a bipedal creature. So that makes it seem like they wouldn't be interdimensional. So this kind of then goes to, are there outer lands that they're just coming from? So like the extraterrestrial, just like extra terrain, and that's like a big like flat Earth thing. Like outside of Antarctica, are we just a puddle? And there's other ones, and I don't fucking know. And that sounds insane, but also sounds insane that aliens live in another dimension and they just blip into here.
yeah. No, I mean, I believe in aliens and all that too. I just want a picture. That's all I want. you know,
I
what I'm
need a
saying.
meeting. I need them to land down to G7 and interrupt Biden mumbling and just be like, guys, there's a better way.
Yeah, there's got to be that.
Yeah.
I love talking to you about this stuff too because you get so heated about it.
I feel like I'm extra yelling in this room. Like this room's a lot bigger than the other one. And before I was in the corner, so maybe it was like echoing back to me.
Are you home by yourself?
No, Casey's in another wing of the house. And she will be, I'm sure, yelling at me soon enough of like, why are you screaming? Like, it's not me, it's Fadule. He's getting me fired up.
Yeah. That article, I mean, well, it wasn't even an article you sent me. It was just a screenshot. I thought you were just making a joke, but if that's real, that's crazy stuff.
Yeah, that was in my, I guess, Google News feed or whatever. Whenever I go Google, I go search something and it comes up and that's what I saw. And I was like, this is, I don't know. And then so in February, we talked about for the end of the year show that in February, it was Copperfield was going to make the moon disappear. And guess what? He never did it. I don't even know what happened to him. Apparently he got tied to handwritten messages or whatever, like the old school missed call thing, like a secretary would take of him calling Epstein that were like attached to David Copperfield. And after that came out in late January, he decided, I guess, to pack his bags or something. I don't know.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that he's going to make the moon disappear, but I mean, it was going to be a trick. He's not going to really make the moon disappear, but maybe he was. Is that
made himself disappear? Yeah, I don't know. It seems like he got tied up in the intelligence ring of Epstein. So this is going to be the hard part of me. I wouldn't say like half my 30 hours of like going into this. Probably 10 of it is truly like podcast related. 5 of it is probably like marketing and following up emails. And then 15 is probably a very conservative number. Is just like being engrossed in Twitter and all this other nonsense and trying to stay up to date with things. I'm gonna have a hard time to quit that. But it'll be nice if I could step away from that and ease the madness.
Well, now you'll be able to, you can actually read it and just be internally angry at it and bottle it all up and then, go insane.
I went on vacation 2 weeks ago. I did not check Twitter for 1 second. I did not check one thing for 1 second. And the only thing I did was listen to one morning. I was up super early. I guess it was the Friday, whatever night the debate was for Biden and Trump. And I listened to that at 5 o'clock in the morning as I was sitting on the deck listening to the ocean. But it was nice not to be involved in all that nonsense.
So you were in a perfect setting. You decided to listen to
that. I needed some chaos in my life. I felt too relaxed.
Like, I'm having a good day. Let's ruin it.
Only one time in my life on my honeymoon, I got a massage, and it was the worst thing in the entire world. I don't like being relaxed. It ruined me for the whole day. We got them like 9 o'clock in the morning, like a couples massage, and they got rid of all of my stress. I stood up. I felt like goo. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't think. Like, it was just too relaxing. I need this Northeast stress in my life. I need people cutting me off. I need like to chirp at people like in lines at grocery stores that are going too slow. I need this in my life.
Okay, well, let's do this then. Just because what I liked about this show is knowing like the last one we had the outline, which I liked. We had those topics to talk about and stuff like this, and now we can kind of just fly by the seat of our pants here. What besides the moon and raining planets and stuff like that, what's everyday thing that you can just think of right off the top of your head that just piss you off?
Politics to no end, the lies of politics.
Yeah.
We need to reform, and it's not even left or right. I follow all of them. I follow independent journalists from left and right. I used to believe the news. I used to believe in government. I used to be like, hey, I'm going to vote for Obama and vote for change. We're going to get all this. And he did not one thing positive. I mean, not one thing probably is extreme, but he didn't do a lot of positive of like this whole vote for change. So then when Trump ran, and I was like, hey, let's disrupt the government. I'm in for disrupting the government. Like, let's flip the table, man. Like, it's over. And then I would hear clips on like CNN or whatever, see clips of like, oh, he said that he supported the white supremacist. I'm like, that's fucking insane. But maybe he is insane. So let me watch the clip. And I would watch the clip, and they would like take out every other word. They would take one little blip where he's like, I'm not saying this. I don't mean this, but I could say, and they would like run with that. And the other side does it too. You'll see stuff where like, people are outraged, and you watch the whole clip and you're like, that's not really what they're saying. And like, you're not giving them the grace of context and understanding what they mean. I would just love a straight down the middle news source that people, middle of the ground people, most people want to be outraged. They want to be far left. They want to be far right. They want to be outraged. I just want all those
your
center left. But yeah, my podcast people. I want all the center left, center right, and middle people to just have a news source that they could watch and understand the interest, the finer details of the world.
Okay.
And
so
that annoys me more than anything.
About me that you might not know. So, I mean, I agree. So growing up, there was so much political stuff in my family. Like my family is a very, like, I'd say Republican side view on most things. But there would be like, when I was a kid, I would just see like the family would get in arguments and stuff over this stuff. And it just turned me off. So, like, I hated it. They were always just bickering back and forth. So I always hated politics. But then I got to the point where, getting older, you realize, like you said, both sides are full of shit. Both sides cover stuff up. Both sides, it's all corrupt. It's all bullshit. And just like I was saying to you before, I don't let it ruin my life. So there are things big topics that, really bother me, and I'll have some conversations with them about people. But overall, politics in general just piss me off. But and you might not even like me anymore to tell you this, but I've never voted ever in my life for anything. I think it's all bullshit. I don't think I'm one of those people like it doesn't matter, because I don't think it does. Some people don't like that I don't vote at all. My parents don't care, but they say that I should, but I don't care. I think it's literally pointless. And seeing these people on Facebook fight over these political things, it's just it's laughable to me. It's like, get the fuck off Facebook, and like your little post about whatever you're thinking isn't going to change shit. Yeah, well, it's ridiculous that they say. But at the same time, so in college, I was a history major. I was going to be a history teacher. Obviously, that didn't happen. But I was going to be a history teacher, and like my senior thesis was all about the Kennedy assassination and the conspiracy behind that. Like, the stuff interests me, but I'm not going to ever devote my day to just being miserable and looking at all the lies about all of it. I'd just rather be happy and not worry about the bullshit.
Yeah, I try. Well, so I definitely don't let it consume my life where it's going to control my emotions. But as I just see it, it more annoys me. So we talked about the Facebook thing. So real quick, so the voting, I think it's probably better to be an educated non-voter, which you are, as opposed to an uneducated voter, which I think a lot of people are. They're just being like, oh, that's my guy. Like, why is that your guy? And like, oh, no, because I don't support the other side. Like, well, what is the other side? And then it's just misconstrued reality of what that person even states. So I'd rather have somebody be like, I'm not even voting because it doesn't count, instead of somebody like, I have no idea what's going on, but I know that. So after the debate, there was a lot of stuff coming out for Joe Biden, and like Whoopi Goldberg on The View. Like, this is the stuff that like annoys me more, that it's like the stuff for like the wine moms to just like digest and be like that The View still exists. Like, it's painful to my existence. Like on their day. Yeah. But so Whoopi Goldberg was like, I don't care that Joe Biden forgets sentences. I don't care that Joe Biden shits his pants. She's like, I have poopy days myself. And like that somebody would vote. Like, she just said, like, the guy is put somebody else in.
Yeah, he's not confident. Yeah.
Right. And that's what I was hoping with Trump. Hey, the mean tweets, I didn't care about them. I kind of found that entertaining. At the same time, though, I'd wake up at 6 in the morning and see the 50 Twitter alerts and be, what did he just say at 2 o'clock in the morning? Like, maybe save it. Maybe like, time your tweets so they come out more rational instead of at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning threatening to blow up North Korea because your red button's bigger than Kim Jong-un's. Like, that comes off a little crazy. I was hoping that the Democrats would then go like, hey, he's insane, but he kind of is pushing it differently where it's not just, and it's all special interest anyway, but why don't we run Warren Buffett, who's a businessman who can treat the United States like a business, and we could still push what we think is the right way for this country. But instead they went completely back to like, hey, special interest and be bought off by people. That America as a whole doesn't agree on that. I think that's like a really big disconnect. They're like, how do we just improve the country and it will improve everybody? And maybe some people won't be as happy to the improvements or how big they are, but you will see that it is an improvement. Like this whole thing now.
There's no gray area. It's black and white with
right. So it's the black and white
conversations about anything. And that's why like literally, well, I mean, it happened. So, I played my weekly poker game. Like I have a rule, like I don't like when people talk politics at the poker table because then it just gets away from the poker game. So it happened last week. We had a couple buddies of mine started talking about stuff and I wanted to kill myself. And it changed the mood in the room for a little bit until it kind of settled down. But the one guy, he was still annoyed and I could sense it. That's the stuff that I don't want. I don't want to be that way. I don't want my kid to be like realize. I understand all the things that are going on, but all the stuff that people say, none of it's going to change. It's too big right now. And this is my opinion. I don't think, and there'd have to be a radical person to just come in here and just shut it all down, say this is bullshit, but then that person probably gets shot. So
have you seen RFK Jr. doing any of his, he's been doing this for a few months now, but just recently, I don't know whose podcast or interview he was on, and he just completely broke down how the CIA killed his father.
Oh yeah.
What, like 100%. He's like, and then this guy, and this guy's controlled by this guy, and he was working with him, and it is insane.
On Bill Maher. Did you see when he was on the Bill Maher?
I don't think I saw when he was on Bill Maher.
His like he sounded horrible, like just vocal.
He has a voice thing. He has a voice.
Yeah,
thing.
I know. It's like I couldn't even understand what he said. It was horrible. I think I was surprised he even went on the interview. I couldn't believe how bad it was.
I think he's talked about that his entire life. He was born with something.
I know. It's just I couldn't believe the extreme because he doesn't talk. I mean, he talks a lot, but it just seemed really bad on that interview, in my opinion. But
yeah, there have been interviews. I don't know which one was on, but he seemed worn down. And then with the voice thing, so it's like a shot voice plus his voice already being how it is. It was like double shot. But it's like talking to like your 90-year-old grandmother who like smoked 10 packs a day, and you're like, what is that word? But it's nice when there's subtitles. Like they can tell you what he's saying.
Yeah. Okay. Besides politics and
so my last bit about Facebook, I think any Facebook post about, hey, let me tell you my opinion is the worst form of communication, is the worst form of social media, because you're not looking for anybody to have like a friendly debate with or like, hey, change my mind. It is, let me talk to my tribe, and all I want is accolades for thinking this way.
Yeah, the personal facts.
Yeah, I find that so infuriating.
Yeah, I can't. The certain way people use Facebook. Like I'm there, literally, I'll post pictures of like me, my daughter, stuff like that. Because I actually, especially too, since my sister had passed, like I love seeing like the memories that come back. Like that's one of my favorite parts about Facebook, just taking me back, even seeing pictures of Aubrey when she was little and stuff like that. Like we said before, just these people who use it just to, I don't want to say, it's always angry shit. It's always people putting in their view about something that just, pushes the limit, and it's going to piss people off. No one's ever just on there just to have a debate, like you said. Let's have a. Right. And I also think you can't debate over like text messaging. That's why like you can never get in a fight with your wife over a text message because people just read it.
Really?
Many times too is be like, I remember when I worked at Enterprise a long time ago, and I started dating this girl, and it were busy as hell. It was like around Thanksgiving time or something. That's the busiest time there in rental stuff. We just started talking. She had sent me a text, and I was busy. I was running around like crazy. I just I forget the question she asked me. It was about like we were hanging out later or something, right? And I just wrote back, yes. That's what I did. So the rest of the day, I don't hear from her, blah, blah, blah. We end up meeting up. She comes to my house. And this is literally, this is what made me actually stop talking to the girl. She came to me and she was pissed off at me. She's like, the other day we had such a nice time. And I text you today and all you write is yes. I was just like, yeah. I was answering your question. We are busy at work too. She's like, yeah, but you came off like such an asshole. She's like, you could have put like yeah or yeah, and I would have known you weren't as angry. I was like, I wasn't angry. I answered your question. It was the word yes, literally one word. And we're sitting there bickering. She's telling me, and this is why I'm saying this is on like obviously a larger scale with the Facebook and everything, but like how people read stuff. Like I wasn't being a dick. We were saying yes. You texted me at like noon on the day before Thanksgiving. We're busy. So I just wrote back, hey, we're hanging out tonight? Yes. It's the answer to the question. I was like, yeah, if you say it like, if you read it like I'm saying, yeah, bitch, like it's
You
just
should have went with
crazy.
faux show. You should have did the super bad faux show. She would have been appreciate that so much. But she's assigning your emotions and your tone to yes. And if I ever asked you a question, not that we're dating, if I ever asked you a question and you replied with yes, I think that's better than yeah. Like yeah is almost like more passive aggressive if you're going to assign tone to it. And be like, I just asked you if we're hanging out. You couldn't even say yes. You're just like, yeah, like you don't even give a shit. Like, I'm not hanging with you late this weekend, Joe. You don't even want to fucking do it.
Yeah. So it was literally that's just changed my whole view on that. I was like, wow, she's mad at this. Wait till I actually like have
wait till I really piss her off.
Yeah. So,
wait till I tell her about Kennedy.
That shortly ended soon after that. But
social media, it's nice. I like seeing those memories. We just had one of us moving into our old house, and Logan was, I think, 3 when we moved, and so he was in a box, like we were packing boxes, and he was a little 3-year-old sitting in a big moving box, and his head's popping out. And I like those feelings going back and seeing that. And it is a shame, I don't know. Facebook really should just be like puppies and your family, and like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. I missed the time that we did this. And instead, it's the town pages are the worst. Like, hey, where's the best pizza? And the next thing you know, like someone's being like, hey, you're a retard if you think that's the best pizza. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, who cares?
Medford pages on Facebook
are horrible. And then someone will say, what's the best pizza? And they're like, you shouldn't even like the pizza. Actually, the best Chinese is like, what are you? Nobody asked you what the fucking best Chinese was. It wasn't to give a rundown. Oh, this one time this guy stole my money from the the Mexican place. You're like, what? Oh God, find something better to do.
I can't stand the town pages. I got off of them. I used to do them for like work and stuff. Like they're like, but then like they get mad at you if you publicize that, but then all the other bullshit that they talk about and argue about. But like I one time wanted to put a post about like the solar and the roofing stuff because I thought maybe some people needed a roof, nice thing. You can't post that on here. It's like, oh, God forbid I help somebody. We have to,
Business posts are on Wednesdays only, but complete bullshit is 24/7. What is happening? Yeah.
I thought the funny thing that Sunny Spa, the Sunny Spa thing.
They got busted. The wishy-wash, is that what that was, right?
Yeah. Some of the comments in that were gold because it was like you could just tell like the older guys who still wanted it to be there.
Come on.
It's just a small business,
Yeah.
All the women are getting pissed off about it. That was a fun thing to read.
I don't understand those places. So I didn't realize it was called Sunny Spa, but I knew it got busted. So there's Sunny Spa there. There's the one in Voorhees, right down the street from the Target, kind of near the Lindenwold speed line. So, that's like a business district. I have them all written down. So I used to drive past there all the time, but you know what they look like. Like if I wanted a massage, if I enjoyed the first one I ever had and I enjoyed feeling relaxed, I probably would go to Hand and Stone, or I would go to somewhere where somebody recommended. And if somebody ever said, hey, go to this place where the windows aren't open at all, it looks dark as anything, and there's a red neon sign that says spa, like they have really good massages, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and how don't the police understand what that is? Yeah, but like it's not a legitimate business. Like if I ever saw anyone walking out of there, I would know what they were doing. I don't understand how they exist. In a city, I get it, because like you only have like 2 windows as a front storefront. But in the suburbs, your business is typically a building, and there's 3 to 4 sides of the building with windows, and they're all fucking covered. Like, what are you doing?
It's open again though. That's Sunny Spa. I guess it's where was I? Oh, I went to Spots Hardware the other day, and I just saw that it's actually still bumping. I don't know.
Those old people, man, they did their the petition and got it back.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. So my other complaint about Facebook pages, the people are loving this. They're telling friends to listen to this. Is that diner was going to close, at the Medport Diner or something, and then people are like, they can't close. You people need to support it more. Like, instead of realizing that rent went up, or these people have done it forever and it's not worth them anymore, or the cost of supplies.
Yeah.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze for them. And then people are like, they can't leave. Like, let's sign a petition to keep them. let's sign a petition for a private business to stay where like they don't want to be there anymore. Like, and you never went there until they were about to leave. And now you're like, we should all go there. Like, you should have went there from the beginning. And then like, maybe they would change their mind.
I used to cut the grass there when I was a kid.
At the Medford Diner?
Yeah.
Look at you, man.
I know.
You grew up in Cherry Hill?
Marlton.
Marlton.
I literally grew up in Barton Run, a mile away from.
Ah, look at you.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
It's actually fun. I hated Medford because I went to Cherokee. So like Cherokee and Shawnee were big rivals. I hated Medford, but now I love Medford. I don't hate Marlton, but it's weird how much things change. I used to deliver pizza to my own house, like where I live now, when other people lived here. Yeah, I've done all kinds of landscaping. I used to be, my first job was a dishwasher at Friendly's. That was fun. That lasted a couple weeks.
Dishwasher at Ponderosa.
Oh, there! Look at us.
Terrible.
Wow.
Friendly seems better. The all-you-can-eat buffets as a dishwasher, as some 14-year-old kid getting trays full of just slop that people just threw on their plate that they had no intention of eating.
Yeah, too. At least I had a bucket and people just toss the stuff into the bucket and they'll splash on me like whatever the shit they put in that water.
Yeah.
I apologize, man. I keep talking.
Oh well. This episode may never see the air day with the light of day with you just coughing away over here.
Don't stop.
Yeah, dishwashing was the worst job in the whole world. You could not pay anybody enough money to do that. That's when they need the robots to take over because that is a disgusting job.
And then I remember too, they gave me like my maroon like polo shirt to wear, and I just stopped going back because I actually got my landscaping job, which was a much better job. So I stopped going to Friendly. The one guy probably called me for 2 months to give back my polo shirt. I just never did. Feel bad.
He's probably still calling now. If you ever run into him, like, I want that maroon shirt. It's like dirty work. Where's my $2?
That movie's a very underrated movie, but good for you.
So first time jobs, I got into a little pissing match at CVS the other day with 2 teenage girls. Not my proudest moment, but I'm stopping to get stamps. And I was going to one place, but I needed stamps and I had groceries in my car. So I was like, oh, I know CVS has a little sticker on the window that has like the US postage stamp, so I can stop there. I try getting the groceries.
Stamps at CVS?
You can.
So is that the best podcast I've ever been on?
Write this down so you don't forget. This is all I do is drop knowledge here, man. It depends what nuggets you want to keep with you. So I was at Wegmans. I tried getting, it was Sunday, so the post office is closed. Maybe they have internal, I could buy it from a vending machine. I don't know. But I had like frozen shit in my trunk. It's 1,000 degrees out. And I was like, all right, let me just stop at CVS and real quick. It's right on the way. I can jump in there. So I walk in and some lady is standing at the counter with like an annoyed look, a customer. So I was like, oh, no one's been up here for her. So I'm with my son and I leave him there for a minute. I'm like, hey, but hang here for a minute. Don't leave. I'm going to go find somebody. So I'm walking up and down the aisles, looking around, like nobody, zero. I make it back in the far corner of the store and there's 2 girls, they're little push carts, 2 high school girls, and they're just talking to each other. And as nice as me, I was like, hey, so whenever you get a chance, a little lines forming up front, if you come help out. And the one girl was kind of like, okay. The other one rolled her eyes, super heavy eye roll. I was like, there's a button you can push up there for customer service. We'll come if you push the button. I'm like, huh, well, I kind of just walk back and I found it. It kind of works the same way, doesn't it? Yeah. She's so pissed. As I'm walking away for the 15 feet, I'm still walking away. She's still barking at me and I'm chirping back at her. I was like, listen, you're getting paid $20 an hour. Minimum wage is insane right now. I think 16 is like the bare minimum. It is, you are getting $16 to $20 an hour. I got $5.05 to wash people's spit up puke on plates that they would just have full of mashed potatoes that like kids would mix milkshakes of like just absolute leftover food. And you have like, I don't even give a shit. You're not working, but just like talk up front. So I'm up there and I walk up and the lady's like, oh, did you find somebody? I was like, yeah, apparently if you ask them, they'll give you an attitude though. So the worker comes up and she tells the woman, she's like, if we're ever not up here, just push this little button. And next to the gum and the magazines was the size of a lighter, not even like a flag in the air to say like, hey, customer service. You would never look at it and thank the press for customer service. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like I would work for 20 hours a week, 20 times 5, $100. You get taxed $60. I would go home with $60. The Rage Against the Machine CD was $20. Like I used to always want it. And I would go to Sam Goody and everything else was $11 and Rage was $19. I didn't get it for years because I was like, I could always get 2 CDs of something else. Like the entitledness, I don't fucking know what it is, man. They should get in the landscape thing.
I'm just mad that you just came over and it's just stupid. Kids these days.
It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. So what do you fill your time up? You're not on Twitter. You're not getting enraged by politics. I don't think you should talk at the poker table about politics. Like, unless, I know the secret handshake people that I can talk about, like, the moon landing or whatever else. Like, I tend not to
Yeah.
bring that up. Recently on the beach, though, it has been, if people see me, they're like, hey, get them to talk about the moon landing. I get all fired up for the whole beach. But in general, I don't really think, these should be public conversations as much. Religion and politics
The
were typically
occasional
private.
sorry, yeah, the occasional political things, like, okay, but I just saw like the direct. I think it was probably just because the debate had just happened the week before, and there was guys at the poker table wanted me to put the debate on the TV while we were playing. I was like, absolutely not, no. So I didn't put that on. But then they started talking about it the following week with just opinions on stuff, and then I remember I was just sitting there like, oh god, here we go, and yeah, they just started going back. It wasn't a big thing. It lasted maybe a couple minutes. I didn't know. I kind of put a stop to it and just said, come on, let's go, blah, blah, blah. But you can just see that people are just getting, it was bothering the one dude.
It sucks the air out of the room. Because it's not like, like during Clinton, like, oh, what do you think of NAFTA? And then people are like, oh, actually, no, I don't really think we should really have NAFTA. And we probably should do this. No, I never actually thought about that. But this is like, hey, did you see the debate? And like, my guy did the best. And you're like, no, my guy did the best. And you're like, your guy's a lot. Your guy's a lot. And it's like, there's nothing. There's no, you're not changing one's mind. Like, nothing is happening. Like, the same people are voting no matter what.
Well, I hate the people that just give their political opinion when they don't even know what your feelings are on anything. You'll see this out at like actually happened to me at a CVS, ironically, before. Like, the guy just starts talking about the politics, just thinking like you think the way he does. And in my head, I just nod and say, whatever. It's like, I just don't want to talk about it. But some of these people just love to talk about it and just think that you feel the same way they do. And that's when they get on Facebook and think like, oh, everybody thinks the way I do. And then that's how the fighting just starts. It's just dumb.
It's not great. So what do you fill your time with? The Yankees, right?
Well, I like the Phillies, and I'm a Yankees fan too, which bothers some people, but I can't help it. My dad, I grew up diehard.
Runners go to front run.
No, because I like the Eagles and all the other Philly teams, the Sixers. Just with baseball, my dad is a big baseball head, so growing up, we loved the Yankees. But growing up here where we are, the Philly, my dad took me to so many Phillies. My dad likes the Phillies too, so he always, I think just from growing up in this area. So, and now both the Phillies and the Yankees are good. So, but I think this growing up, the Yankees won so many when I was a kid. So I think if they faced off, I still want the Phillies to win it, just because the Yankees got 27 World Series titles. Phillies need some catching up to do. So
a lot of catching up to do. And the last time the Yankees played the Phillies won. So now it's the Phillies' turn.
Yeah. I wore black that World Series. It's a true story. We'd go out to the bars. So I remember I was watching at PJ's and I just wore all black. It was weird. I could find myself like cheering for stuff. And I was like, but did I really want that to happen? But, in the end, it's a win-win. A team I like is going to win the World Series regardless. But I don't want them to play each other. I actually hate when they do. But
I feel like you need a green as more of a neutral color. Like black, I would see that and think Yankees. Like their hats are black, right? And they have like the black and gray or black and white pinstripes.
No, they're just navy blue.
Oh, they're navy blue. They used to have black.
Nope.
Black Sox? White Sox?
The White Sox are black. Yeah.
What are these American League teams, man? Nobody cares about.
Yeah. There's something for you to be angry about now.
They did just show, I guess, whatever anniversary it was of Jeter running and crashing into the stands, and that's still just an amazing play. Yeah, I do feel like he could have slid, like he could have caught it and slid, or like kind of dive rolled and not went headfirst into like row 4, but whatever. Yeah,
we see so the Jeter. Actually have see. You can't really tell. Well, you can't see my tattoo. I got my tattoo from my sister on my arm. She was diehard Jeter, so I actually had his number as tattooed, like in a big collage on my arm here. One of the things that my sister loved, and that. Have you seen in my basement? I got that big cardboard cutout of Jeter. I don't know if you ever noticed it, but that's right on the wall there with little plaque for his final game. But like when I think of Jeter, I think of my sister so much. So that's like I love that whole Yankees team. That'll never be trumped for me because that was the best Yankees team in my opinion. And just the ties to my sister, we cheered for so much. Like her accident was his final game was September 28th, and then her accident was October 8th. So that was like all our last pictures with her and everything are at that game. My last text conversation with her was she was at that game, and so that's like the connection I have. Because I'll never That's why I got Jeter all over in my basement, just because he means a lot to me, dude. And sports can do that, man. Like, that's something I saw on Facebook. Not to sort of totally change subjects on you, but there's a guy. Tell me, I wanted to know what your opinion is on this. This one guy, he was just ripping into just how sports in general ruin the country, saying how all they are is like, how can people wait? And he was giving a seminar. I have no idea what it was. It's like a little reel clip that I saw, and this guy for about a minute rant on how sports just all they do is like how, like, I can't see how people can wake up in the morning and go cheer for people that are millionaires that they don't even know and let it consume their life and ruin their lives. He's just like, and he was like pissed off about sports. But then I take it to like what I was just talking about, how you can have, I have memories of just like childhood and like my sister and family and everything. All these memories come in. It's just a culmination of everything that it does to you when you watch sports. That's my opinion on it. But this guy, I wish I had the clip. I would have sent it to you. But it was just like one of those quick reels I saw. But there's a lot of people I saw in the comments. They're like, 100% sports is bullshit. Like, how you get mad at sport?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think sports brings people together. That's like the one. I mean, I know everything touches politics or whatever, and like I think like if you just keep sports as sports, it should bring a lot of people together. It's great. So my wife is in healthcare, and every once in a while, we'll get in like the salary debate of like professional athletes. And she's like, "Well, a doctor saves lives." But I was like, it's a sponsorship. Like if Mercedes Benz wants to go sponsor the doctor, then they should get a lot more money. But like this isn't the owners of the team, whatever $4 billion team. They're not paying out of their like, but some of the money they are, but the money's coming in from TV revenue, from selling jersey rights, from selling jerseys, from
$9 beer night. Yeah.
Oh, so on sale. That sounds pretty good. We're going to Dave Matthews and next week, 2 weeks, and I plan on that being double or more.
Yeah.
But sports should bring people together. Like some of my best stories or favorite memories are being at sporting events. My uncle used to take us to Phillies games all the time, my brother and I, and we would sit at the 700 level. We'd buy tickets to the 700 level in the vet, and like he taught us the art of sneaking down. And like part of the fun was like starting the 700 level and seeing how far down you could go. And you would make it to the 300 level, get busted, and go back up to the 500, hang out for an inning, and like work your way down. And like there's times you were like right on the railing. The Phillies sucked back then. This was like the end of the Mike Schmidt era, and like I used to make signs like Chris James on the Phillies, and I don't know what he did for me to hate him. Phillies through and through. I hated him. I would make signs that said like Chris James, you stink, and like heckle. I hated him. I don't know what it was, but you would like work your way down, and like that was fun. And there were times like heat strokes didn't exist in the 80s. Like you were allowed to bring in a jug of a drink, so we bring in a jug of fruit punch, so just like sugar water, and like cheese sandwiches, like, but the coolers didn't exist in the 80s. Like you just had a melted cheese sandwich and hot ass fruit punch. And I remember like puking numerous times and numerous games because we're out in 110-degree heat and like not even realizing, hey, like probably you should get some air conditioning or get some water or get out of the sun. But instead it was like, yeah, you're fine. No, just sit out there. But, like all great stuff. We go to the Eagles games. And again, you bring the jug in, bring the thermos in, and it would be hot chocolate with the skin that would form on top because it wasn't stirred, and like pouring that in. And I'd be like, I'm not drinking this. He's like, I made this, you're drinking it. And I have to like chew the skin to get to the hot chocolate. And like as terrible as it was then, like it's a funny story now. I don't know. You can't get mad about the salaries. Like it is what it is. Like they're gonna get money back.
I was just mad at just sports in general. And that's kind of like what we were talking about. Is just like people just find a way to just complain about anything. This guy puts a whole video out about it, and then there's people that see it who like connect to it. It's just like you said, it's how awesome. Like when the Phillies are like in the World Series run, everyone's getting together for the Phillies games. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's happy. It's like, I mean, there's some people I think when they lose, get a little crazy, but you see that all over, like with any sport. Like when they see like their team loses the Super Bowl, they're smashing their TVs and all this kind of shit. Like that's excessive. I just think that person just a little off their rails. But
I feel like half of that is like for engagement though. They're trying to get like followers to follow them. And TVs are so cheap now. Like, yeah, go do that in the 90s when like, it was $5,000 for the big screen TV that weighed 10,000 pounds. You were never getting out of your basement.
Yeah.
But now like you're walking out of ShopRite and they have a 50-inch TV for $199. And you're like,
I know,
I don't even need that, but should I buy it? Like that seems like a really good deal.
I did, dude. I bought a TV that one of those like Amazon days or whatever they had it too. It was a 55-inch TV with $130 on that. It was like one of the Roku TVs. I bought it just because it was like, you know what? And I found a spot for it, so it's all good.
Yeah, but like, even if you didn't, you're like, why shouldn't I have this? You're like, one of my
Yeah.
TV's gonna break at some point. Like, I should just put this somewhere.
It's like there's a sale. Like I would go to the store. You just buy stuff that's on sale. Now you can just buy TVs when they're on sale. They sit there until you need another one.
So all the kids in the neighborhood, well, my son's 10, so all his buddies in the neighborhood and all that. Like, I think life is better as a kid if your sports team is good. That they're living in this renaissance of the Eagles have been really good for most of their lives. The Phillies have really turned it on the last few years. The Sixers, the last couple of years, they still get bounced in the second round, but they've been, the Joel Embiid era of him playing. And like for kids that have that memory, but if you were, I don't know, like the Milwaukee Brewers or like the Tampa Bay Rays, like somebody who's just like not ever there or doing it, like that's just a suck that you can't go into school on Monday. So the Monday people who call in the WIP, like the Eagles lost, week 4 in October and it's ruined their whole week. Like, I think you guys need to take a deep breath. I think you need to like recognize that, like, if you ever saw Jalen Hurts in the wild, he would never come to you and say hi first. And if you said hi to him, he's not that excited to say hi to you. Like, I'm sure if he did it nicely, he still doesn't give a shit. And he's not gonna remember in 5 seconds. So for you to tie all this to, oh my God, like AJ Brown, he's my best favorite player. He's on my fantasy team. And if I ever saw him, he's great. Like, he just wouldn't give a shit about you. And I think like you can still like the team, you can still like him, like come to that balance of like, it's going to ruin your week about people who don't think twice about you, so.
Yeah, no, that's what the guy was getting at. But like, he was just making all like, if you even liked sports, basically you were like, what's wrong with the country? And I just thought it was stupid. But actually, go ahead.
I was just, that's why like sometimes you'll see like when the Browns would wear brown bags to the games, or they would chant like sell the team, because it's not, we don't like the owner, we like the players. Like Philadelphia is such a hard market to play in. Oh my God, such a hard city to play in. Show up, practice, try hard in a game, pretend like you care, and like you don't have to pander as hard as Bryce Harper, but like that even goes a long way, but like just do that and you will be immortal in the city. But then for the owner to sit here and be like, yeah, I know I can squeeze an extra $2 out of them. Or the Phillies got rid of Dollar Dog Night. Like, get out of here. Like give something to the fans. Like the team means more than like the team as a whole. The Phillies team as a whole means more to the individuals.
They blame the Dollar Dog on the people throwing hot dogs at each other.
I know but now it's like 2 for $5, and like this, if they want to throw, they're still going to throw them, or like bring my own hot dogs in. Like, it's so ridiculous. That like hot dogs are $5. We were going to go to a game. We looked at tickets for a game. So if you go the Sunday, typically the kids giveaways. They have a sweet Castellanos jersey coming up this weekend.
Yeah,
or cat. Yeah, awesome. Where's the adult size? Do they have a fat kid XXL? Like, I need to get into this. Like, it is awesome. And so we're doing a fishing trip this Sunday, so I can't go. But I was looking at tickets. So the sun comes around. If you sit third base side, you're good in the shade. From like mid, left field, center field over, you're in the sun. It is baking for a child. So I was like, all right, great. Like, where can I get in the horrible? So where can I get in the shade that my kids will enjoy it a little longer? Dude, they were $50 a piece. I was like, it's $200 for a family of 4 to go sit in the nosebleeds in the shade, and then like $5 hot dogs and like, so for that part, I see. Like, I can't be mad at the players for getting paid their salary, but I can get mad at the owners for like, hey, we're going to juice these tickets a little more. Like, what can we squeeze? What's the last penny?
It's all relative to each other just because of the cost of these things. And Philly is actually some of the higher markets too. I saw there was like Eagles games or something. They were saying like it was like a beer cost thing. Like the beers at the Lincoln at Citizens Bank Park are some of the most expensive around the league.
Because they know people are going to buy it, and you're stuck in there. When the Phillies were playing the Astros in the World Series, it was cheaper for people to get 2 tickets for Philadelphia fans to get 2 tickets in Houston to fly there to stay overnight than it was to get 2 tickets in the resale market here. And it's like, hey, I guess the resale is, that dictates its own price, but that's crazy.
Oh, so to kind of spitball off of this topic. So I was driving with my dad the other day in the car, and we were talking about. It was funny. We just had the radio on. Me and him were just bullshitting. And every time, who was it that came on? Billy Joel came on the radio. Who's the guy that sings? Eddie Money came. There's an Eddie Money song that came on there. And every time these guys, my dad's like, "Oh, I heard he's an asshole. Oh, I heard he's an asshole." Like in real life, "Oh, I heard he's an asshole." And I started saying to my dad, I was just like, these people probably just get frustrated. Like, I think if I was a celebrity or in that kind of popularity or whatever, I'd probably be deemed an asshole too, because I don't know if I could take people nonstop coming up to me asking for a picture, asking. I think eventually I would just get frustrated and I have to just blow past people. You hear these things that they call celebrities assholes. Who are like, oh, he just walked right by me, ignored me, didn't even care, didn't sign my kid's thing, or all this kind of shit. If you did it like 50 times that day, and you need to get where you're going. These people got to blow past people, and then everyone just judges them instantly. So I think, because my dad was telling me I love Billy Joel. He's like, I heard Billy Joel's an asshole. I was just like, well, I don't think he's an asshole. I love Billy Joel. But
so he's a New Yorker in the busiest city in the world, and he probably still lives there and walking. He does his Madison Square Garden stuff. Yeah, but 1,000 people a day are stopping him. He's like, dude, I have shit to do. Like, I have to piss. Like, I need to get home. And like,
yeah, I think I would be the worst celebrity ever.
Yeah. So some of the musicians I get, they like John Mellencamp a few months ago had a meltdown on stage because he was just talking a long time between songs. And someone's like, sing your song. And then he was like, I can do whatever I want. And he like stormed off stage. And I was like, Jesus, man, like people pay $100 to hear you sing. And then my buddy, this is a long time ago, a few years, probably 15 years ago now, he went to go see James Taylor with his mom in Camden, sat on the lawn. And James Taylor just had a new album out and he was playing like the entire new album. And so some people are like, hey, play Fire and Rain. He's like, no, I'm here to play my new stuff. And like, I hear you, man, but everyone's here to see your greatest hits. Like, I wasn't around in 1970 when you released that album that I want to hear that song. Like, so the rule is you play 75% of what the fans want. You get to play 25% of your new stuff that nobody knows what's happening. Unless this is your first album and people are just there. So like, I think that's extreme, but the celebrities are like, you'll see like Britney Spears in her heyday, but also she did it to herself. Like she's going to a restaurant in Beverly Hills and sitting by the window and there's 1 million people taking pictures of her.
Well, she's nuts job. She's a nut job.
But like all the ones who are like that, all the high profile ones, like go move to Arizona or Vegas and you can get back and forth or somewhere where people don't give a shit. But you want
comedians never really get ridiculed like in the public eye. Like, you get the people like Alec Baldwin and stuff. Like he gets, well, obviously the stuff he did, that's a bad example. But
he's going on trial this week. That could be a really bad example.
You know what I mean? Like you never see like really any comedian. I think comedians are more like open and honest about their true feelings. Like you see the real comedian when you actually see them in the spotlight, whereas like other celebrities are giving you kind of like poster child for like who like the perfect person they're going to be. So I kind of just realized that now though. Think about it.
It's like Russell Wilson. They talk about him being fake because everything he says is like you're just positioning for like a political career in the future and to be the best marketed person that you could be. And they say that a lot with like the young athletes now too. Like they're so polished, but you also grow up with a camera in front of your face and being recorded all the time. Like, thank God I didn't have this shit when I was in 8th grade or high school or college or any of that stuff. But like, they're just so polished on the right things to say. You're not getting an authenticity. But then the bigger ones,
the post game conversations, the stupid questions they ask these like players, and God forbid they go off the beaten path a little bit. They'll say they're throwing somebody under the bus, and the people should be able to feel how they do. Like especially like your player's bad, like a coach, you can never like say a player did bad or something. When I was a kid, like, oh, I wish they would just say like, oh well, that play screwed us. Love the guy, but that play is what lost it for us. So now we need to like
they get all upset.
Yeah.
I don't like but even like Hurts and he was like, or Andy Reid was always he always had
you got to do better.
yeah, that's all it was. But like, McNabb was criticized. Like, okay, hey, on 3rd and 9, like, maybe we shouldn't have switched the play and did this. You have to like throw them under the bus so much. But people are like, hey, did you happen to see that this guy was open on the under? And he's like, hey, well, that was the best read that we had at the time. But that's fucking bullshit. Then don't do the press conference. I find that to be painful.
They're just scripted. They're done. Just want to make sure everyone's got a pussyfoot around everything.
Yeah. Dumb. And then for celebrities, being assholes, whatever it might be, it also has to be tough. Like if you're John Krasinski and everyone just thinks you're Jim from The Office, and I have no idea what the guy's real personality is or anything at all. But like Jim's like, hey, your buddy, or like, hey, I was Jim when I used to work in an office. Like I was kind of funny and I did stuff. Like everybody just sees him as like the perfect version of whatever you think he's going to be. But instead he's like, dude, like I'm kind of a dick and I'm kind of miserable and I'm kind of tired and I kind of don't want to talk to you and I just want to get back to my family. But like, you have these people like, oh, Ryan Reynolds has to be like so charming and funny and quirky all the time in real life. And I'm like, I don't know if he is or not, or if that's a person.
Oh yeah, no, like it's funny you name those two people because I love those two actors. I actually like a lot.
Yeah, but like if you ever saw them,
you get mad at these celebrities, like you were saying at concerts when like yeah, if they played their new hits and stuff like that, that's a legit read. You can be upset because you paid a lot of money to see that ticket. But like these people like, oh, he blew past me when I wanted an autograph. Like, no, like I get that. I mean, I don't even like, I get frustrated. Some of the stuff I get mad at sometimes. You ever just get mad at things like when you're by yourself at your house and like
Do you listen to my podcast? Have you been on 3 of them?
Yeah.
I see the moon as I'm looking at my kitchen window. I'm like, you're fucking bullshit. Stop mocking me.
Picturing you looking out the window yelling at the moon.
That's it. Yeah. So what's getting you fired up at home? What's happening?
Well, no, it was the dumbest thing the other day. I was making our pantry has like these like racks in it, and we have like open space that was just piled up with shit. And I was like, I measured to have this other rack we could fit in there to have more pantry space. I measured it, and it was supposed to fit perfectly, and it did. I just didn't. You had to angle it to get it in there. It just wasn't happening in the beginning, and I just tell you, I just started sweating, like just because it wasn't working the way I wanted. I thought it was just going to go slide right in there and be there. I had to take a part of the other thing off to eventually to have it fit. But how angry I got, like I was like pouring sweat. I was like pacing. I was like shaking back. I was like, oh my God. I was like, it's going to go in. You're going to be fine. It's going to go in. You're going to be fine. Like, don't flip out. I was like Jerry Maguire, like, all right. And it's funny too. Eventually I was pushing and slid and went in, and like literally my whole body temperature just changed. I was like, all right, it's in. And you're insane. Like I'm an insane. Like I just watched myself go through stages, like losing my shit.
You're in the stages of grief. It was like anger and denial. Like, no, this is going to fit. Why is this fitting? But then you took acceptance and it went right in. I hate house projects. I hate how far, like this is like, oh, Lowe's is 15 minutes away. Like I hate how far Lowe's and Home Depot is, because the other day, I know, but the other day I did a light kit to a ceiling fan. We moved my wife's home office down from upstairs to downstairs, and I need to put a light kit in there. So I Googled, and it was like Hampton Bay or Bahama Breeze, somebody. So Lowe's had it. So I go over to Lowe's, I get it. But you always forget something. And I'm sure it's like a hacky joke or whatever. But like whenever you're doing a fucking home project and you're like, shit, or like you miscut something, but you measure twice, you cut once, you do that, and then you're like, how the fuck did that change in the third time that I was measuring it? Like, where did it gain an inch that like didn't happen? And why is this happening with personal? Like, why am I not gaining inches in places? This is ridiculous. But so I do the light kit, and I get it all hooked up. It's all great. It's good to go. And I'm screwing these like light bolts, like light nuts, and to hold the glass chandelier piece and like the individual chandelier thing in. Yeah. So there's 4 lights. I do 3 of them great. The 4th one I'm doing it, and it gets jammed like on the second screw in twist. It gets jammed, and the amount of like fury that was flowing through me, I couldn't fucking get it undone. So I'm like Googling how to do it. I'm Googling what to do. I have WD-40. It will not move. I have 90%, 99% of this project is complete, but it is a failure of a project. Like the chandelier light is just like hanging like limply. Like I need Viagra of chandeliers. Like how do I inject this to get this thing like where it needs to be? And then so then I'm Googling like how to remove these things. And it was called a nut bolt. So that I'm Googling nut bolt remover. And I was like, my God, when my Google history gets released to the world, and they're, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, what is wrong with? Yeah. So then I almost stopped at the light store up the street to go get it. I had one from Amazon coming. It wasn't coming for 2 days, and it was like $15. I was like, you motherfucker. Like the light kit was $40. Like, how is half of my cost going to be adding this bullshit thing? But then I went back and decided, like, I don't give a shit. If I rip this light off, I do not give a fuck. I will take it back. And with that attitude, it finally came undone. But I was like, then I was calm. Then I was happy. I completed my project. Right? But I still have the embarrassment of now, like, Mark Zuckerberg has my search history of nut bolt remover.
You're a Mark Zuckerberg fan?
Zuckerberg fan? No. I don't like any of these people. I don't like.
You're gonna say no. So.
I don't like any of these people. When you hear, Tim Cook and stuff like this, like when he was alive, he wouldn't let his kids use a computer. Like Bill Gates apparently wasn't letting his kids use a computer. The Zuckerberg, they don't let their kids on social media. All these Silicon Valley people don't let their kids on these apps because they're highly addictive, because they manipulate your thought, they manipulate your preferences, they push you into adult material, I think too fast, or like even when you put age restrictions on it, somebody signed up for Instagram, they put they're under 13 and instantly they were getting like adultish material coming through. And it's just like, I just find that to be like, they know what they're doing. They have it down to a science. So I was talking to this AI guy, and it's like kind of like the algorithm. And like, Yeah, is AI going to take over the world? Like, I don't know, probably not. Like, we're pretty smart people, but is AI going to know how to manipulate you enough, like how to just coerce you enough into doing things that, like, maybe you're at a road and it's like 50-50 and 51-49. You're like, oh, I think this is a better decision for me. And AI is able to like feed you different things to get you to go down a different road because it knows like what your triggers are. And like, oh, if I present it this way, like Brian will find it more appealing and give me the choice that it wants me to do as opposed to like what I wanted to do. I find that, I find that
Yeah.
interesting. So it's
The
not going
whole
to take
AI.
over. It's going to manipulate you enough. Like there's also a thought that like our entire existence is for our gut bacteria. That, like everything in our entire life is just like drives our gut bacteria. Like the reason that you want like salty sweets or chocolate or whatever, or that you're going to go outside and stand in the sun and like all these things you think is free will and that you're doing, it's really your gut bacteria is like reacting a certain way. And so like with probiotics, you can like help clean some of these things and like live a better life. And I think AI is going to be like more like that. Like you don't even realize that the reason that you want a piece of chocolate is because your gut bacteria wants that at that moment.
Well, yeah, I mean, isn't that how everybody would be though? I mean, you have those things because of your preferences. But you're saying the preferences are what are
The
being manipulated.
bacteria more so than like what you actually are. You are just a representation of your gut bacteria. So like Arby's can be a representation of what AI wants us to do. Like it's not going to be Terminator and forcing us to do it. It's just going to present you, be like, oh, you enjoy chocolate. Like, hey, I'm going to lift weights and I'm going to lose 20 pounds and cut out carbs, whatever the fuck it is. And then your AI is going to come up and flash through social media or flash through whatever, or through your robot Alexa or whatever it is, and just be like, oh, like it's been 3 years since you had Burger King. Oh, you really enjoy Burger King. Or like, hey, here's a Burger King ad. Like, oh, we know Brian's getting hungry. Like, let me show him a nice primo sandwich or something to try to get you to do that more, as opposed to showing like, hey, here's grilled chicken and like weightlifting videos and like you should go do this to live a healthier lifestyle.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I
it
think
already does that. I get you talk about something and you get ads for it on Facebook.
oh, instantly, yeah. I think you're just going to have more of that coming, and then whoever controls that AI is going to be able to control more. So like Mark Zuckerberg will go buy all Burger King and then push Burger King ads at you, and then Burger King's profits will go through the roof. And I think that's just manipulative marketing at this juncture in our lives with like this hyper connectivity that we have.
Yeah, it's just that there's that thing we did the end of year show where you're showing me those newscasters that weren't even real people. That was nuts.
Right. So then you have a company controlling that, and there's like 6 media companies in the whole world that control all the media. And it's funny though, like the Sinclair Group's one of them, and they'll come out and they'll show, all the local news, like the 6 ABCs and all this, as they're doing like the Jim Gardner nightly news, and they'll show like 50 different news stations local reading the exact same script of a news
Yeah.
story, the exact same words, using the exact same. It's like, so you don't have a writer, or you didn't come with it yourself, and I find that disingenuous. I think you're gonna have more of that, and with the AI not even knowing, like I don't
Well,
know,
yeah,
but
you
the
don't even
local.
have newscasters anymore. Just do that. Just type it into a program. It's just going to look real.
Well, it's going to feed it, yeah. But also, like, I don't know the local San Diego newscaster, and they're going to come out with like Jimbo John, whatever, like with like, there's raining glass in San Diego right now, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe San Diego, like, but it's all AI and not real, and AI generation things. I think it's just a slippery slope of lies that we're at, and it's going to be fascinating for the
So,
future.
all that shit's always been. It's all lies. All of it is. I think you just have to be able to, learn how to live with it. I think honestly, you can get pissed off about it, like we were saying earlier, or you can just learn to live with it. I mean, I don't want it to be that way, but are you going to let it bother you the rest of your life to where you don't actually enjoy the life you have?
I know, and I think I don't do that at all. I don't. I enjoy my life very much, and I let it get sit in the background. But then during my time,
And you see the moon out your window and your day's ruined.
well, then I'm freaking out. But I know that's a lie. I know that's a lie. But I think there's just manipulative ways. Like you can crash a stock market, or you can, these like shit coins, like the ape coins, and apes are strung together, and all this like the roaring kitty to get AMC to go higher. Because like, hey, if everyone refuses to sell, but like that's also kind of like damn the man. So I'm for that. But there's going to be
Well, that stuff's different than, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but
right. But you're gonna have an AI investor or an AI Joe Biden, an AI Trump going like the stock market is a scam and everybody needs to divest right now or you're going to lose all your money. And there's not going to be enough time if people are like, shit, if I don't sell in the next minute, I could lose my fortune. And then, but then there's not enough time to understand if that's like an AI generated, and that's an extreme example, but there's like small things like this. Like it's easy to go, I don't know, man. I don't know. We live in a strange time. It's exciting. It's awesome. I'm happy.
It's
I
just
wouldn't pick any
bullshit
other
emails.
time.
I get so many emails from like fake Amazon accounts telling me I need to re-enter my, like, is this real? Is this real? You have to like dive into it. And I think that's targeted at like older generation people who like, oh, they get every email they think is, 100% true. And then they dive in, and that's how these people get hacked. Like, I don't respond to anything I get emailed to or texted or anything. I need to actually, even the phone calls you get, I get so many, I have to answer my phone for basically anything that calls. So much spam, so much bullshit, so much, and you're constantly, now it's just going to be, AI is just going to make it worse. We're actually going to be seeing people that we trust, well, supposedly trust, saying this stuff, and shit's going to get fucked up. Well, it's already is fucked up, but it's just going to make it harder to decipher what's real or not.
I get multiple emails a week, probably close to one a day, that says like, thank you for your purchase. And then I'll see it in my Gmail, like little preview screen. That's like gives you like a
Yeah.
line and a half. And it'll be like, thank you for your purchase, invoice number, and like whatever. But then like the thank you words that they'll say after that, there's like something misspelled or like missing a word.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
great.
I'm always like, how is this not getting picked up as spam? And I'll
Right.
check my bank statements, but all right, I didn't spend anything. Like my wife didn't buy
I get that
anything.
from PayPal. They always say like, "Oh, your purchase through PayPal went through. It's like $450." I'm like, "No, it didn't. You guys have been."
Delete, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I don't get is the random text message. I'll be like, hey, are we still on for tomorrow? Or, hey, I can't make the piano lesson. And I'm like, what is I don't understand the point of that. I don't get that.
Yeah.
One, I
There's
respond
people
the
that fight on it. I think it's just a way to get a reaction. And they can probably do something to your information if you just respond. So
yeah,
I
I
just got
responded once because somebody was like, hey, I can't make the piano lesson. And I was like, well, I feel bad for somebody. I was like, hey, not John. And they came back and they're like, well, where do you live? I just deleted.
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Who are you then? Like, I was just trying to help John out getting his piano lesson. But like, the whole like, hey, give me your bank account so I can transfer all my Bitcoin because I'm a Nigerian prince refugee. Like, whoever fell for that? And who was that
Yeah,
one
I
person that got rich from it? Was like, oh, all these suckers didn't take out this guy up, and here I am.
actually no, I might have a true like live moment. Oh yeah, look right here. So I had maybe right around Father's Day. I have a pool, a swimming pool, and they had this ad for like this $250 like cordless vacuum that you could get at Father's Day special. It was like $40. So I was like, wow, shit, yeah.
Sounds good.
So I bought. Yeah, sounds great. But a month went by and I didn't get it. So I texted them. I was like, hey, can I get an update on this? Blah blah blah. They sent me the tracking number. Like, oh, we sent it to you. It was delivered. I was just like, well, this may come as no surprise to you. I didn't get it. That's why we're talking right now. It's like, oh, well, our logistics team told us they delivered it to the address that you gave. And the day that this all said, like, I remember I worked from home. I was home all day. I have a Ring camera. They actually wrote and emailed me that it had to have been stolen because they did leave it on my doorstep. And I can tell whoever's writing me, they say that their name is Mike.
It's not
But
like
no, it's not Mike. And they said, we'll give you 20% discount. I paid $45. I was like, I want the actual product. So then I was asking them, I was like, so if you, long and the short of it, they're not giving it back to me. They say they don't know what wrong. They even wrote to me too, like, well, we were scammed in this as well. That's why we can't give you more than 50% back. Is that okay? I was like, well, how do you want this? How are you going to give this refund to me? They said, just enter in your credit card information.
of course. Yeah.
Like, looks like I'm just burned for
Yeah.
$40. And
How did
he
you
actually,
pay?
but now, that's how
Did you pay with a credit card?
originally I did, but now this guy's asking for me to give him the information again. So
Just tell them to mail you a check, but just mail me it's not coming.
no.
So they had, when we first moved in here, we had our roof done and I had gas little fire pit, my little fire pit table.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like just through like the move of us doing it or like debris coming down off the roof, like kind of busted up a little bit. And the fake granite facade on top was like chipping off. So I was like, all right, like this is great. Like I like this better than a real fire pit sometimes. And you just want to be outside for an hour. You have to worry about embers and all this stuff, So I was like, oh, let me get another one. So I'm searching online and I found a deal. This was like middle of winter too. So like not really fire pit season. And this is more for like the spring and summer type of deal. So I found a deal where it was $60. I was like, all right, that's like a really good deal. That's like pretty fucking amazing. And so I click on the website. I was like, well, I'm not giving them like any of my real shit, but PayPal was on there. Like, great, let me use PayPal. So I do PayPal. It's like, I don't even think I ever got an order confirmation. Like a week later, I got an order confirmation, and then I got one that said it was delivered. Didn't get it. Breaking news, didn't get it. but just through all of it. And I reach out to PayPal and they're, as soon as I placed it, I went to cancel it. I was like, you know what? I don't want this. Damn it. I shouldn't have done this. As soon as I placed it, I called PayPal. I was like, hey, can you cancel that order? And they're like, oh, the seller has 3 days to accept the order or it automatically cancels. And so, at this rate, we'll just wait. So like at the 11th hour, the guy accepted the order. It's like, fuck. All right. So then it said it was delivered and I got some tracking. And I call back, I'm trying to find them. I can't get customer service. So I called PayPal and I was like, hey, this is fraud. I didn't get this. And they're like, well, it shows it was delivered. So I'm showing them the weight of the item was 3 pounds. I was like, where in the entire world would a fire pit table be 3 pounds? I was like, it's a 40-pound thing. Like, this is how I didn't get it. Like, oh no, it said it was delivered. I was like, but that was not like, so I don't know how they spoofed, a FedEx delivery or whatever. Like a lot goes into it, I guess, that I don't fucking know. I was beat for $60 and PayPal was just like, oh, consider us the same as using your debit card. You can't get the money back. I was like, I thought the whole point of you guys was to protect you more like a credit card. Like you were like no. They don't do shit, man. I was shocked.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
It's
I was like,
pointless.
Can I file fraud? And they're like, no, you can't, not with us. And we're just like almost like using cash. I was like, okay, thanks, fellas.
Well, I will say this guy just said too. He's like, he's not asking for it. He said, we'll refund your card and to check my. So maybe that's legit. I don't know, but still.
Why don't you just ask for the product? But all I want is what I paid for. Send me the product.
Yes, it's like, and he lived in a sob story how he was affected too. I was like, how are you affected too? I was like, you guys still got $20 for nothing.
Yeah,
like, I mean, well, $22. He's giving me like 50% discount, but it's like, I hate people.
No, just tell them you want the product back. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not getting it. So,
what's predictions for the rest of the year? What do we have happening? Phillies winning the World Series?
I don't want to say it.
All right, are the Yankees winning the World Series?
I don't want to say that either.
Well,
I'm not saying
both.
I don't think the Yankees are going to win the World Series.
Okay, Phillies are hot. We're number 1 team.
I just don't like to jinx people. So I literally feel like I'm a very superstitious person. I just lost you. Hold on. Sorry, I hit some button on my computer.
That's fine. All right, we don't want to jinx the Phillies. Sixers.
So I do some like online betting stuff here and there. I'll put like $50 in this BetMGM thing. When Ranger Suarez was doing amazing, I heard in the car, it's like, oh, he's had 6 or more strikeouts in all of his games. So I bet $10 to win. I had some parlay thing going. I bet like $15 to win, like $70 or some shit like that. That he'd have more than 6 strikeouts. He had the worst outing of his of the season, and lost. So at that point, I knew I jinxed it. So I refused now to bet on anything Phillies. I don't even want to say it. So I have my feelings in my head of what they can do. They obviously have the team to do it. The Sixers, like you just brought up, I think I like the changes they made. I think it's just a matter of these guys can all click together, Paul George and Martin and all that stuff. You just need to have if they all click and it's a good atmosphere, they'll win. Doesn't matter. You can have 3 of the best players in the world on the one team, but if they don't click, they're not going to win. So
2 of the 3 click, and then hopefully the third just accepts his role and knows where to go. But Maxie lives within our school district. And so if those kids in his part of the neighborhood are not out there with a lemonade stand charging $204 million for a cup of lemonade, like that, it is a lost opportunity for them.
He's well, I had ice cream with him. I went to Leo's to get ice cream, and I was there
just with the 2 of you. A little strange.
Yeah, we sat there. No, it was weird. Me and Aubrey are sitting out there eating, and I see like a big black SUV pulls up, and I didn't know at the time, but Maxie's parents got out of the car and they walked in. I said hello as they walked in, and then he got out of the car. And I remember I was like mid lick. I was like, "Holy shit!" Hey. He's like, "Hey, buddy," and he went in there. And the funniest thing was he didn't realize, Leo's is cash only.
Yep.
Tyrese didn't have cash on him. He's like, so his dad had to buy him the ice cream, and his dad was like, "Believe this?" Like, that's funny. But then,
no matter where you're stationed in life, you're still looking at pops like, "Hey man, you buy my ice cream for me, right?"
Daddy bought me ice cream.
Yeah.
But no, it was cool. I talked to him this is like when he first kind of moved to the area, and he was asking me about like pizza places around, like where I like to go to eat and all this kind of stuff. But he lives right like over in Centennial somewhere, and his neighbors, like kids, like I don't know the neighbor he lives right next to, but they said he's always out there shooting hoops with the kids, and evidently an awesome guy. So I'm always rooting for him. And now he's Aubrey's favorite player because she actually like met him. So now she likes basketball because of meeting him for that. So that's cool.
Talking about celebrities and like don't meet your heroes and stuff like this. I feel like with that, and so in what's the Voorhees neighborhood? Jesus, all the Eagles lived in the
Like a
the
certain
park market.
development, you mean?
They lived in a certain development. All the Flyers did in the 90s and
I'm not trying to talk about
2000s.
it.
Alluvium, all the alluvium.
Right.
Yeah. So in the late 90s, all the Flyers lived there. In the late 90s, early 2000s, all the Eagles lived there. So just, regular size houses, like maybe McMansion-ish, small size McMansion-ish. And I feel like if you run to people like that they'd be normal. And this isn't like the don't meet your heroes. Like Maxie lives in a upscale, whatever, but like a regular neighborhood. Like this isn't like, you're separated by miles of land and all this stuff, and you don't know where the people are. Like his driveway is probably 50 yards to his neighbor's driveway or whatever. So he's walking out, and I'm sure if you saw him, now if you're bringing it over and you're like, hey man, can you sign 50 things for me? Or hey, this and that, or yeah, let me help you with your jump shot. Like shit like that probably doesn't go well. But if you see him, you're like, hey, good to see you. Hey, good luck this season. I'm sure he's the nicest guy in the whole world. And I think this is just the difference of Billy Joel in New York City walking through a busy street, and you're running up to him to tell him about the one time that you saw him in the 70s. And he's like, man, like, I'm just trying to go somewhere. We
I'm
went
not being rude. I'm in a hurry. And if I stop to talk to every single person, I'm never going to get there. So,
right. And like your personal story means a lot more to you than it does to him, instead of like, hey man, like big fan. Like, I think if you said, hey, big fan, and like kind of kept it moving and he didn't say anything, like I would say that's rude. But if he's eating or he's trying to like spend time with his family and like you're interrupting that, and then like you're rude, or like a head nod or a fist pound, like I think there's like a fine line of things that you can do.
the cool thing, so while we were actually eating ice cream there, like they came out and Tyrese was just like sitting on the table with his parents, and we were just like bullshitting. And his mom goes, "Do you want to get a picture?" I was like, "Yeah," because she put it out there too. I didn't want to be the one to be like, he's probably just wanted to come get some ice cream and be left alone, but she did it. So we got some cool pictures. So they're really nice people.
Everybody stains of ice cream all over their shirt. Like,
yeah,
yep,
that was a good picture.
That's the great uniter, though. Nobody can eat ice cream regular; it just drips all over the place. I think stuff like you're a good ice cream eater. I never spill. So we were I was on vacation for a week, and it was windy as anything, and we're having Core Brothers, and my wife's a constant spiller. My kids are kids, and I was the only one. The wind was whipping and blew ice cream off my cone onto me. I was furious.
Wow, there you go. And the one thing I noticed that you said that I'm glad you said it too. You said your wife's a spiller. Yeah, I think I actually knew this about Kate too, because Jamie, we literally every single day she spills something, knocks something over. And here's a topic we can talk about. So I'm glad you said that. Just like with wives in general, we both love our wives, right? Now, if Casey's near you, can she hear what I'm saying, or she only hear what you're saying?
Just in my headphones. She only hears my nonsense.
Oh, okay.
I love my wife. She's amazing. She puts up with me, which makes me even more amazing.
Is she near you right now?
I married up. No, I don't think she can hear me through a brick wall.
Okay. Well, I didn't. So you're in a. God, I'm dying. Anyway, so we were joking the other day. So you know how like if you do something wrong, the world's ending, but if she does the same exact thing, it's like funny and laughable.
Mm-hmm.
Like we joke about it, like life's okay. So we have those moments. My wife loves to, now mind you, we have a blind dog. My dog, he's like 14, he can't see, he can't hear. And Jamie loves to, we have one of those ottomans around our couch that's just like soft, so you can't like, you have to put like a tray on it if you want to put something on it. But Jamie loves to just put like full glasses of water or beers or drinks or whatever on the floor in front of it. It drives me nuts because numerous times we have spilled it. And I ask her not to do it all the time. Still happens all the time. And now too with Pacino being blind and deaf, so he can either bump into it because he can't see shit, spills it, but we have to put diapers on him now so he has so if we feel wetness, we think it could be piss. So the one day Aubrey is walking around there, she's like, oh, there's a wet spot here. So I go over there and look, and I just see it's a knocked over glass. It wasn't Pacino. So I just get down, I walk down to wherever she is too. I was just like, so, you left a glass again on the floor, and then just giggling, she's like, oh, who, right? And then I just go like, yet again, Jamie, I was like, this is another point that if I did this and you knew, I knew that you hated it, we would be in a fight. You would hate it, and we'd have to go to counseling, just because how women are. I feel like every wife is this way, and I want to know if your wife is the same way. If it's okay when they do.
100%. There are 100%. I am the doghouse for something, and I'm like, didn't this just happen 2 weeks ago? And then bringing up the 2 weeks ago brings like more of a doghouse, and it's like, but it doesn't get bigger. Like the more of a doghouse you're in, it doesn't get. It's not the mansions of doghouse. It's a smaller one that you're in of like you're never escaping. It's like built around you to be stuck in there.
I just don't get how that happened. And I feel like it's like with everybody I talk to too. If their wife does it, it's funny and okay. We can joke about it and talk about how mad you'd be at me if I did it to you. But like, why can't you just feel the way I do about it? Like, where's the why does that happen? I think it's weird.
I think it's
So
the simple. It's like it's the simple things. Like if you, so our cat passed away last month, but like if you left a glass on the counter, like the cat's an asshole. Like it would lick it and then it would push it till it broke. So like, we got to the point of like, oh, like if you have a glass, but never like push an empty glass off. So like, hey, if we're going to go out, just like empty your glass and then put it back and it'll be fine. Or just put your glass in the sink or dishwasher and we'll get a new one. Like, so we're not glass dependent around here. Like we're living the dream, man. We have 4 glasses at least that the entire house can share. It is amazing. And like things like that. But it just confused me of like, how are we not on the same page with like certain things? Or like, how is a glass like, why would a glass ever be on the floor? Like that would confuse me more.
yeah,
Like why does it ever end up there? Or okay, occasionally, maybe you're hanging out late at night or something and the glass just went there. Like I get it. But the floor is a storage place would be like, but would it would annoy me to have the conversation, but then it kept happening. I'm like, how, like, where's the disconnect? Like, where are we going?
right.
I
I
don't
just
know.
feel like
And
with men, the things that we hate or the things that bother us, that we let it be known to anybody, it just comes off as they're just suggestions to these people. Like, I don't like this, but if you're going to do it, I guess go ahead because it doesn't matter. If it's something they don't like, it's fact. It can't be done, and if you do it again, there's going to be repercussions.
indisputable science.
Yeah.
It's like the
Like,
science is settled.
in my house, I don't matter is what we always talk, like in a funny way. Like,
Yeah.
I love my wife and all this. We say too, like on the chart of things that matter in our home, there's our daughter comes first. I think then I told like Pacino and then my wife. And then there's probably 8 other like inanimate objects like the Roomba, the coffee maker. We have a Ninja, what do you call it? Air fryer. That's very important to Jamie. And then I'm somewhere underneath between air fryer and this new shark vacuum we got. I think I'm somewhere in the middle of that in importance in our home. But yeah, that's just,
You accept that? You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it too. It's just like, so now I just, anytime she does anything wrong, I'm saying it'll make your life easier. Just always point it out. Just be like, I just want to point out that if I did this to you, you'd want me dead. And she goes, yep, and just laughs and we move on and life is great. So I'm just waiting for it. I haven't really pissed her off too much anymore. So I'm actually doing great.
Sounds like
The only
you
thing that on me recently was that I was a really bad snorer. But I went and found out I had severe sleep apnea. So I had to get the whole CPAP machine thing. It's actually not that bad, the one I have, but it's just a thing under my nose. But I don't snore anymore.
Did you go for a
It's
sleep
literally
test?
all like, huh?
Did you go for a sleep test?
Yeah, got all that done. Found out severe sleep apnea.
Did you go somewhere or did you do it at home?
I did the at home one. So, and then so my regular doctor sent me home with the machine. They get the results and they send it to a sleep study person. And I went there and then now I have it. But there's some CPAP machines that suck. They could put like the whole Bane mask on you. But the one I have is just this really loose fitting thing that just goes right under your nose and just basically shoots air right up your nose. So, but I don't snore at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's actually, it does work. So I'm happy about that, but I'm more happy just because now I don't snore. So Jamie literally has like nothing on me anymore. So it's like great to have that. Cause I always
But she'll
told her
bring
too,
up, remember 5 years ago when you were snoring? Like, I fixed that.
no,
That doesn't
dude,
count
she
anymore.
loves to just pull stuff. Like anytime she does something wrong too, she's like, well, remember in 2013 when I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, I don't remember 2013. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything.
I went for a sleep study, but I went to a center. So to sleep somewhere strange, which was really weird anyway. And I did not have sleep apnea. I am just a loud snorer. So the guy he was like, we could do a surgery, but he's like, you're married? I was like, I'm married to have a kid. And he's like, yeah. So like, if you were young, he's like, probably not great to, attract somebody. He's like, but since you're already kind of there, he's like, I guess we could do it. I was like, oh, all right. I just have a long hanging ball or whatever it is. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, they determine if you stop breathing more than 5 times in an hour, like then you have sleep apnea. I was 35 times.
Ooh, setting records.
Yeah. So,
At what point are you breathing? Like 35 times in an hour? Like that's almost the whole hour.
I know. Well, I would wake up, but so what I found what this thing does, so like I would wake up a lot during the night, but I'd fall right back asleep, so I wasn't getting good. So now I just like I'll maybe wake up Literally, like before, it used to be like 15, 20 times a night. I would just like wake up and then go right back to sleep. Now it's maybe 2. And this thing, and it works. It's cool. I mean, I'd rather not. I'd just lay like right on my back all times. But I used to be like a side sleeper, but now like I don't care. I'm getting better sleep. I feel like it. So, and heart disease runs in my family. So this is a boring topic. So we can probably switch it if you want
Nobody's
to.
left anyway. I wish I had sleep apnea to have that machine because I love sleeping on my back, but now I have to like side sleep to snore less. And I feel like I wake up to roll over. Like every time I want to roll over, like I kind of wake up. It's only for like half a second. Like I know that I'm rolling over. I fall back asleep.
Half-second wake ups. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I almost wish that I had it so I could, because if you want to astral project, so we'll get back into weird topics for anyone still here. So there's so Einstein, when he was doing, I think it was his theory of relativity, that he was trying to, I don't know what the fuck he was trying to figure out, but he pictured himself on a comet. So he astral projected himself onto a comet and he was standing on it and watching what was happening. It was flying through space and see how it interacted and like saw the tail and all this stuff. And somehow that figured out his theory he was working on. So there's a way that you can stare, like if you have like a small light, even in the room, but it's like just off like the tips of your toes and you can like kind of stare down at that. And like as you're about to fall asleep, there's like techniques you can do. You could possibly astral project. And I think this would be amazing. It's like lucid dreaming. It's like all this stuff that like, if I'm sleeping, if I can do shit in my dreams, that'd be even more amazing. Like I want to go check out China. I want to go check out whatever. I want to go to the moon, stand on this thing and see that's not real, like whatever it is, or just control my dreams. Like as I'm sleeping, like, oh, right now I feel like flying.
What's the movie that does that?
Inception.
Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Inception.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah, so that was a little different, but they were controlling their dreams in there. I think that would be amazing. And one of the best ways to do it is to lay on your back and then look, and then you'll be able to kick out of your body. And
I have very vivid dreams, and I remember my dreams better now too. I realized. So
yeah, start writing those down and see if you can control them or see what they're saying.
I'm gonna borrow my CPAP machine.
I might have to. I might just I might have to go fake a sleep apnea test. I will bring it home. I'm going to give it to you to take. And then they're like, oh man, you're waking up 35 times an hour. Then I'll get the machine.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather obviously not wear it, but it's weird. It's like the little like head thing that goes on. It's just, it's weird.
Yeah.
But
I just want to control my dreams more or remember them. And I don't really remember my dreams at all. And I bought a notebook to write stuff down and it's still empty. It's not even because I'm lazy. Like I wake up and there's nothing.
You never remember your dreams anymore?
Like rarely. And if I ever do, it's like a horrible one. I'm like, I'm not writing that down.
Well, sometimes I don't remember it initially, and then something happens in the course of the day that reminds me of it.
Yeah.
Right now, I know I had a dream last night. I can't remember what it was about last.
So you brought up Inception, Christopher Nolan movies. Did you see Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
I just watched it the other day. I think it was a good movie, but like everyone's like, oh, you have to see in the theater. And like all these reviews were like, oh, it's meant for the big screen. It's made for the big screen. I like the movie. I like Christopher Nolan movies. I didn't understand the hype for that movie.
No?
I thought it was good. I just didn't get like what was
I don't think you need to see in the big theater. I mean, majority of it's just like dialogue. I mean,
that's what I was wondering. I was like, oh, and there must be like testing the bomb. You would see all this stuff, and like that'd be really cool to see this giant nuclear explosion. And like none of it happened. I don't know. I was not a fan. And then so no surprise, I'm on the fence about if nuclear bombs are real or not. So there's that too. I don't. So they dropped them on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but like people move back in there instantly. And like, where was the nuclear fallout? And they test them in the Bikini Islands. They were testing them in the Nevada desert. But like, people still live in the area. People still live. Chernobyl had a meltdown, allegedly, whatever. But like, people died. They had to evacuate them. But then wildlife grew back, and it's still there. Fukushima had a meltdown, and like people are still living there. Like not everybody got out, and they're still alive. I just find nuclear bombs and nuclear power to be very convenient to. Like, well, we have to stop Iran from getting the bomb. So like, no, we're allowed to like freeze all their money and treat them like this. And maybe they deserve it. Maybe they don't. Like I'm not an expert in geopolitics, everything Iran's ever done. Or, maybe it's this hidden agenda they're trying to do. But you can always say, oh, Saddam had nuclear weapons. We need to get into Iraq. We need to go do this. Oh, Libya is trying to get nuclear weapons. We need to go take them out. And it's like this like catch-all phrase that you can say to go take people out. But then they drop them on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it kind of like everything is just burned, but like nothing really melted, right? I mean, like some places that were concrete were still there. People lived through it. Like I kind of just think maybe it was like napalm and like fire bombs.
Interesting. I mean,
then the video that they show you, and it's a model that they were doing it, like that famous video that like blows it out. Like that's a model. That's not It's a small.
Oh yeah, know that. Yeah.
Like that's not real. So they're showing you. So I get it's propaganda and do whatever, but like, that was to obviously get people concerned that we could drop a nuclear bomb, like Germany, Japan, Russia in the future. But the video that you showed them was fake.
Yeah, I mean, what things? What do you feel that is real? Do you believe in anything?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think family's real, friends are real,
Talking to me
life
right now.
experiences are real. But you're the computer, man. I don't even know if you're real. Like I see you, I know you're real. I just think that stuff's real. But I also think we're heavily propagandized. I think most of what we're told for reasons that things happen. And that's why I'm excited to see that, as I close this chapter from weekly and move it on to wheneverly, if that's a time frame, that, maybe I can step away from some of the madness of whatever it is. Because things are framed to drive a narrative. And then I think they get solidified as a concrete experience or a concrete thing that happened. And you go back and you look at it. Like the JFK thing is still that like Lee Harvey Oswald was a single shooter. And there's people that still say like, well, the government said it is, so obviously it has to be. And like it just
why would they lock up all these paperwork and all this shit about it if it was just raw like that?
Sorry, because it's not, and it's because the George Senior Bush was in Dallas that day working for the CIA, and he was not supposed to work with the CIA at that time. But then documents have come out showing that he was there, and he said he was not anywhere close to there, and he was.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's what kind of got me into the whole politics thing, realizing it's all bullshit. Like, literally in college when I was doing all of that, I just saw that like all of this is just a bunch of bullshit. Like, look what they could do. Look what they could say to people. People believing that the magic bully thing is ridiculous. That was even brought up ever as an actual answer for what happened is laughable to me. That they said that this bullet did all that crap.
Yeah,
like it's
all that is absolute. It's all bullshit, and it's just that the soon-to-be public CIA director, George Bush, was working for the CIA, and they either contracted the killers or they were CIA killers themselves, and he was there to oversee his project. And that's why you can't release the documents, and you wait till certain people died because it was embarrassed their family. Like, get the fuck out of here. And like, so 9/11, now that Saudi Arabia was talking about they want to go off the petrodollar, and they were talking about possibly going to BRICS. And now all of a sudden, there's 29 hidden 9/11 documents, pages of 9/11 documents, and it shows there was Saudi help. They helped fund the terrorists. They helped do all this stuff. They gave them money as these terrorists were in contact with Israeli intelligence and our own intelligence here prior to this happening. But now all of a sudden that Saudi Arabia wants to get off the petrodollar, these documents are coming more to light, and the mainstream news is talking about it. Well, this has been known for years, but now that it's safe to say because they're stepping out of line. So again, this is a whole crafted. It's like, what do I believe in? I believe in. It's like nihilism, man. I believe in nothing. It's just like I don't know. I believe in watching the Phillies at night. I believe in my family. Everything else, I don't know.
Oh,
it's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's all manipulated.
How people deal with it is just different, I think. So
yeah, I don't let this get caught up in my life. I interviewed this nice guy. He was John Kerwin, and I think he was in his 50s or whatever, maybe 60 by the time I was talking to him. And within the last 5 or 10 years, he found out the Federal Reserve is not a federal agency. It's a private corporation. So the Federal Reserve, and the IRS is not like IRS Gov. It's IRS is a corporation. And so these people setting monetary values and goals and collecting taxes is not actually the government. And it drove him down a rabbit hole where then he, decided that, the earth is flat, Kennedy thing, all this stuff. Like he went down super deep rabbit hole. But he also felt that he had to tell everybody about it all the time. So he was telling his family about it. He was telling his he had a full job, he had a family, he had a few daughters, and was telling all of them about it. And it's like his whole family was like, shut up, like just move on. Like we don't even care. And if you keep talking about it, like we can't do this anymore. So I felt bad for him that you're thrown into a freezing cold pool without ever testing the waters. But then also for his family of like, hey, we didn't sign up for any of this. Like we didn't sign up for you to be insane. And I was like, why can't you start with something simple like the JFK assassination? Like, why didn't you just start with that and get people on board with your family being this? I was like, and if the earth is flat or not, like, how does that change your day to day? Like if there's an Antarctica ice wall, if there's aliens on the other side of the ice wall, if we can't ever get to the moon, or if we did get to the moon, like none of that changes my day to day. So as much as I get excited about it or fired up about it, at the same time, I don't really think twice about it after I stop hitting record until I walk out to take my trash out. And I'm like, what is that doing up there? But you just see some of the stuff and it's like, am I going to jeopardize a normal, quote, a normal life to do
Yeah.
what? To like be a doomsday prepper? And maybe they're right. But do I also want to survive the doomsday scenario? I'm not even too sure yet. But we get down to 1% of the population. Like, do I want to live in a Mad Max hellscape? Like, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. World is it's crazy. But that's kind of like with the Kennedy thing, just that's kind of what just molded me with all political stuff. I just think they can do this, they can do anything. So,
Right.
and they should have, for me, they should have just, it happened. They could have just said, like, this is a very, they should have said that this is hush hush. We got to figure out what happened here. They just started spewing these lies right from the beginning. Like, they caught Oswald in 2 seconds. That's another thing that's crazy. How'd they piece all that together and know where he was going to be like that? They knew they were pinning it on him.
Right.
Like, it's stupid. They could have just done it and then just said, like, look, we don't know. I'd rather you just say we don't know, we're investigating it and we can't talk about it. Should have just said that. And everything would have been better than what they did. The story they came up with was so fabricated and dumb.
But they had to stick to that story. And that's what I like when I see these high profile events that happen now. Like, the best thing to do is get that initial story out, because in that initial story, there's so much truth that comes out immediately. And then like the spin starts to happen and then they're stuck in that spin. But there's been just high profile events in general. Actually, just watched the whole documentary on the Route 91 Vegas festival shooting, and all of the stuff that the Las Vegas police just ignored. All these police reports of like people watching someone get shot outside of, so like, he was at the MGM, I think. Paddock was at the 32nd floor of the MGM shooting down on the festival. There was people calling in and be like, this person was just shot right in front of me at New York, New York. Like, I just watched him get shot, and they showed up and there was bullets and there was a dead person, and they swept all of that up because it would not fit into their contained narrative of this crazy guy. And there
Right.
were two people opening the door from the inside at the same time, like two different suites that were connected to each other at the exact same time. So like all this stuff like just does not add up, and they just swept it under. But now they're stuck to this narrative and they moved on from it. But like, it's a shame and it's sad. And all these people are going to like Facebook groups and trying to start it. Survivors who are like, I saw like bullets coming straight ahead, like the opposite side. And all these people started having accidents. One person died in their sleep, but they're like 28 years old. And wasn't
When was this?
the Las Vegas shooting 10/1, 2016, 17, 18. Jason Aldean was up there performing. And it's really fascinating. So there was a Reddit. So 9/11, 9/11/01, 9/11/01, right? So backwards 10, 11, and then like 91, right? There was this guy like a month before on Reddit was like, hey, either he was in a meeting or somebody was in a meeting, and they're like, he apparently worked for the government. And he's like, something's happening on 9/11. There's something coming up for 9/11 this year. Like, there was a piece of paper I saw as I was going through, and nothing happened 9/11. But then a month later, on 10/1, Route 91, it's like, oh, like, is that just such a coincidence that like those numbers are all kind of there for what happened? And this is kind of like the crazy. This is like the Jim Carrey, the number 23, like where like the craziness is just like bleed in together and like,
I never
that's
saw that.
going. But he sees 23 everywhere, and he starts going insane because he thinks 23 is a magic number. It was actually a good movie. I remember seeing it a long time ago. But
Yeah,
then
I
you start
remember
seeing
see it.
23, and you kind of lose, the slippery slope of reality of like, oh, is the world trying to tell me about 23, or do you just happen to see 23 in everything you do, and then start making it up when you're like, 5 minus 2 is 3. That's 23. Like, what is happening here? Anyway, Route 91, just fascinating. The exact what happened in that story is not what happened. The official narrative is not what happened in reality, yet it is concreted, solidified as the official narrative. And people who started speaking up, like, I was here, I lost this person in my life, and this is what happened. That person had a car accident a week later. Like, what are the chances like 10 people who were speaking out against the official narrative had these random things that do happen in life, but are that connected? Now, are they that distraught? Are they not thinking right all the time? Are they that like that anxiety because of what was happening, like the PTSD?
I don't remember hearing about this thing at all. It's crazy.
Yeah, fascinating. So, and then they came out that like, oh, Haddock was, oh, so the hard drives are missing from his computer. It was really just crazy stuff. And then somebody broke into his, you have to, it's such bullshit. Like, the narrative is fed to you. All the big mainstream things, like what's fed to you
Like
is
Sandy
not
Hook.
what, I don't know if I want to get fined $4 billion for that. But that is interesting. Is that official narrative? Before I won't get too crazy on it. That official narrative was that there was 3 gunmen in there dressed in full like SWAT gear, and that's what was first called to the police. Then they found this kid, this Adam Lanza. This whole story is just insane. I'll stick to the facts of it. So and not enough people listen to this for me to get in trouble. But Adam Lanza,
You
his
can actually
brother,
get talking about this stuff.
this is what Alex Jones got fined $4 billion for.
Okay.
Alex Jones, according to him, this never happened, and nobody died there, and nobody did anything. And I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not for it. I feel horrible especially if children are involved. It's terrible. But facts, it did happen. Adam Lanza, he had a brother. Do you know what his name was?
No.
Adam Lanza. His brother's name was Adam Lanza. He changed his name to Ryan. Like, are you George Foreman? Like, you named all your kids Adam Lanza? Like, that's insane, right? So all the glass that was broken in to get this tool. So we walked up the front door. The front door was locked. On the side was a glass, like walk-in door or glass window, full glass window, and a magazine rack was blocking it. The glass was broken to the outside, not to the inside. So as he smashed the glass in, it actually came out. So all the stuff that he used to break in, all the glass was on the outside. So that's just kind of fascinating on its own. And the coroner, the parents weren't allowed to identify the bodies, and that they had to painfully go through and like try to remember what their kids were wearing and send pictures and all this like horrible stuff that like I couldn't imagine for a parent to have to go through or try to explain like what your kid, like, I don't know, my kids wore to camp today. I have no idea what they were wearing, and like to have to then like be definitive and try to do it. But they wouldn't let the parents identify the bodies, and so it'd be too traumatic for them, which, hey, it probably could be. This guy had a high-powered assault rifle. He weighed like 90 pounds soaking wet, and he was carrying all this like heavy military gear, which on itself is just amazing. Like, I'm carrying a grocery bag for a block, and I'm like crying out in pain, like, oh my God, the milk's so heavy. But hey, 90-pound kid carrying all the stuff, whatever. Yeah. So the coroner was like something like I forget his exact quote. It's a really weird quote where he's like, I just hope that the people of Sandy Hook recognize the horrors that are going to come down upon them if this like ever found out. Like, just something like really weird that like the guy said. And that guy kind of like disappeared too. All these people just kind of disappeared. And it's a shame. So I think you can hold both narratives at the same. So Alex Jones saying it didn't happen, like, hey, that's going to get you fined $4 billion. Somebody saying it did happen, but what you first reported were 3 people in SWAT team stuff that you saw and that were called in, and now you're blaming on some kid. Like, I think that's a fair thing to say too.
Yeah. World, man.
It's a weird world we live in, and it's a shame. And then, but you see all the stuff, like, instead of, that tragedy happens, and the first thing that comes out is like, everybody should give up their guns so this doesn't happen again. It's like, well, is that the first thing you should be saying? Or like the first thing should be like mental health and like proper gun checks and proper medication and proper stuff like for insane people. Instead, they close down all the insane asylums for the most part. People just wander around fucking batshit out of their mind. Kensington, everyone's on trank, out of their mind, and like let them go find a gun and shoot off or go rob people, like whatever it might be. But like the first thing is like, hey, everybody should give up their guns. All right, but 99% of legal gun owners, right? 99% of legal gun owners never run in this encounter and live happy, polite society type of deal. And then you go like, the criminals stole the legal guns, so you should get rid of them. Like, the criminals, yeah, it gets tough, and not get the whole like a gun control thing. But like that's your first thing all the time is always like, oh, if everyone gave up their guns, like, okay, good luck. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens for the rest of this year. November election is going to be insane, whichever way it goes. The spin for everything is going to be crazy. Yeah, we're in for a whirlwind time. I just hope the sports world pulls us all together, man. That's it. I need my fills to do it.
I know, man. November is going to be crazy. Oh God, I might not even go on Facebook again after November.
It's not quite worth it, man. Like all the people. The hard part is it's the I know for a fact rhetoric. They're like, you don't know for a fact. It didn't happen last time. And why are you saying it's going to happen this time if you don't know for a fact?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't do this, then this is definitely going to happen. And they have like high political people. Like, so this is the part. That's just politics in general. The whole UFO thing. We can talk about a skiff. We can talk about a skiff. We can talk about I forget what skiff stands for, SCIF, but it's a private room where you can talk about the confidential, top secret things, and you're given clearance for that time to release your secrets to a certain group of people.
Yeah.
And then they come out and like they kind of leak what was in the skiff anyway. So they interview David Grush, who's like, hey, I know that like we have aliens. And they're like, have we recovered bodies? He's like, I can't say that unless we're in the skiff. Like if the answer was no, you would say no. So you
Right.
saying that like we didn't do it and saying you have to talk in there, like that kind of implies the answer.
Like pleading the
But
fifth.
but then what's that? Yeah, pleading the fifth. Like obviously you did it. And then there was times during like the Russia gate and like the Russians helped Trump and all this stuff. But like Adam Schiff would come out and say affirmative, like Don Jr. and Eric did this. Like we have evidence that they are treasonous people. But then you never arrested them. So like that was not true. But like that you can come out and say stuff is like whatever you like. I just find like, people need to be held accountable for the stuff that we put them in charge for. Stop enriching themselves.
Yeah. It's
That's my point. I don't know.
I hear you, man. I think just for your final show, how would you what do you want to go out saying? I think we got to give you a little platform here for your last show.
I have enjoyed so last official show, I've done, I think your episode 73 that'll come out. I have met so many interesting people. I have never not released a show that I recorded.
Have you
got
ever
to talk
not liked a show that you had to put out? I know you don't have to say who it was.
I
but
did release a show recently that I would have buried, but I was like, oh, whatever, it can go up. It just like I don't know. I think it's hard. Yeah, it was like all the above. I think it's hard to come onto if you've never done a podcast. When I first started this, oh my God, my first episode was my old neighbor, Angela Melchiori. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, like out of nowhere. She was doing CrossFit, dropped to her knees, couldn't breathe, went in, tumors everywhere in her lungs. And they're like, hey, you have a couple months to live and that's it. She's still going. She's still fighting strong, way past the time they gave her. But when I went, I talked to her beforehand, I didn't hit record. And I was like, I went hit record and was silent for a minute. I had no idea how to start this. I had no idea how to do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't have any plans on like what we would talk about, but I was like more with her. Like before we started, I was like, oh, I'd like to hear your story, like how you're dealing with this and like what you think's gonna happen in the afterlife. But that was it. And like as shows have gone on, I've gotten less and less planning and just more like if somebody has a book, I'm like, hey, I saw your book. Do you want to come on and talk about it? And like that's kind of what it is. And then like we'll shoot off in different directions. But I'm also getting, I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not getting Terrence Howard to come on here and do stuff. Like a lot of the people are first time podcast people, or they've only been on like local ones and nothing like that huge. So for them to come on and realize like, hey, you're the guest. People want to hear you less than me. I'll chime in when I can and take the direction wherever it goes. I think sometimes that's hard.
Yeah.
I had one guy come on. He reached out to me, wanted to come on. I said, great, no problem. Had him come on, and it was like one word answers. Like it was super short,
Oh, wow.
and it was a little painful. But like, hey, the guy was nice, and I liked it. Everybody has been nice. Nobody has been horrible or a dick, or I've been like, I wouldn't talk to them afterwards. Some of the people I still text with, I'm like, something will come up, and I'll shoot them a text. Talking to you for numerous hours, like I've enjoyed that a lot. I get to learn about people, that maybe you wouldn't just see as you hang out in the beach or you hang out in a bigger group. And you really get to just drill down for like hours on end. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I give you credit, dude. I mean, I don't know if I could even, if I just saw it going the wrong way, like a podcast, like a conversation, if it's like in my head and being, God, this sucks. Like, I don't know if I could continue it, but you still forge on with it and then do all the editing and all the stuff. I know the behind the scenes stuff you probably do for all this takes a while. So I'll give you credit there.
Like some of the beauty is of like a conversation's falling apart, or like I don't really like what they say or fully agree with it at all, or maybe they want to go on a political rant, which I feel like even what I was saying now is probably heavier than I normally do. But like I've had some people just go like hard, and then afterwards I'm like, I don't even want that on my episode, and it's not because like I don't agree with them, like just
Jamie,
we have a special guest.
You want to poke your head in?
Hello, how's it going? What's happening? This is the final episode that's ever going to air. Joe is a 3-time guest, and he's here for it.
I was talking about how you when you do things, it's funny. If I do them, you do it at therapy. Yeah, those are my topics. Yeah.
Isn't it the same in your house?
Yeah.
No, of course not. It's just you. You should give Joe some slack.
Yeah.
Let him go. I said it is amazing. Our minor infractions, and you women burn the world, and we're like, oh no, it's funny, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Dave Matthews next week.
Yes.
Heading out. Night 1. Are you going night 1 and 2?
So far, just night 1, but
plenty of time to add second night.
76.
76.
I mean, 76 Dave Matthews concert.
You have all your ticket stubs like pinned to a wall somewhere. Do they
They do,
spell out
they're-
DMB?
No,
They are in a picture frame.
She needs a bigger picture
I
frame.
do.
Well, now you can't even get a ticket. You have to print out your receipt
Right,
from
you have a-
Ticketmaster.
Right?
You can print it out. Print out the digital one.
I have to print out with my name and my payment method, and it's like it kind of takes away,
No.
the souvenirishness of it.
I'll have to show it to you sometime. Maybe I'll sneak it in the man cave.
Oh, there it goes. Yep. All right. So
Yes.
real quick, we have you on here. Do you think that JFK was shot by Oswald alone, or more
No.
people? No, more
No.
people. Okay. Do you think
No.
aliens are real? Oh, you want to go more? Go ahead.
No, he's
I was gonna
answer
rapid
that.
fire.
JFK thing, because I actually didn't really get into that until I met Joe. So
Yeah, start showing all like the
we used to
stuff I
watch
used
the
to watch.
documentaries and all.
Do you believe in
Now you
aliens?
know.
I think there's definitely something else. I don't know if we're like green, funny looking men, but there's definitely something
Gotta
else.
speak up.
I got you. No, I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Do you think they've come here? Do you think people have seen aliens or been abducted or they work with our government or whatever it is?
No, but I do know a lady that did say that she was abducted by aliens, and then, but obviously she was returned.
Well, that's nice. They brought her back.
She came in the salon.
Oh, she cut her hair. It's nice.
But there are some,
Do you think it was a problem with like the tinfoil and the peroxide you were putting in her head? Like maybe like blood in her brain?
I think Lisa's. I heard a door shut.
He's trying to
Jamie's
get.
friends coming.
He's trying to get rid of me.
No,
Well, we need her on here too to find out, does she believe in Bigfoot?
Yeah.
She probably does. There
No, sure. All right.
Bye.
Hey, yeah, thank you. So I met some really cool people, and that's what I liked the most about the show was that it was a test. I'm good at talking to anybody for the most part. As I gotten older, I just kind of like suck that in, unless like I
Yeah.
want to talk to you. But there was times where I would just talk to people in grocery lines or whatever it is, or chit chat, small talk, whatever. And it was interesting to like put this as a test of like most of my episodes definitely went over an hour, like unless it was a short topic. There's one coming out this Friday. I think she's this Friday. There's this Tennessee cave system, but they run it as like a park and you can sleep in there and stuff like that. But after a while, like I kind of just ran out of stuff to talk about because like she just wanted to talk about her business, which was great. It was a great episode. And it was fascinating. It's like 27 miles of connected caves in Tennessee,
Really?
and it's 600 feet under the ground, and you can sleep there as a Boy Scout. But after that, like kind of just lost some speed and momentum after like the 35-minute mark. But for the most part, like stuff like this, I book people for an hour. We're on for an
Yeah,
hour,
that's it.
2 hours, 3 hours. People would come up on, start talking about people's personal beliefs, talk about the afterlife, but just things that I don't get in everyday conversations with people that I find just fascinating. Like what happens when we die, or like what happens, like who is God, or what is God, or where are we, and is this real or not
I
real?
like that stuff.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that the first episode we had. We were talking about like the what is it the word?
The synchronicities that we had, yeah, like just bigger than like a coincidence, like something personal meaning to it.
Yeah.
And I think like that's amazing. Like when stuff like that happens and like you start looking for it, it's just like little winks of the universe to let you know that like, hey, it's all
Yeah.
like one big joke and we're all in on it, and like don't take it all so serious, or like, hey, that actually is a good decision. Like I think that's all like really cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that. Like ever since my sister's passed, now that I just believing in like I do think there's something after when you die. I don't know what your opinions are on that, but I mean, there's books when I was grieving and stuff. I read these books and things on it. There was like this book I read. I think it was called Proof of Heaven. It was like this scientist guy who did not believe in the afterlife whatsoever, and then he just had near death. Like he had a near death experience. I forget what put him in the hospital, but he was like basically dying. He was considered dead, but they were keeping him alive with machines. And everything that he said and he saw, and like there was this lady taking him around, which he assumes was heaven or something like that. Didn't know what it was. When he came back, he couldn't believe the experience that he had. And then kind of dove deeper into his own life, realized he knew he was adopted. So he decided to find his birth parents, and then he went to actually meet his birth parents. And then when he was at their house, he saw that he had a sister that had passed away from cancer, and that was the woman that was taking him when he was out. So it was a good book.
Yeah, I
So-
find all that stuff fascinating. I definitely believe in an afterlife, and I don't know if like we just go back to like the light beings in the sky that we are, or like the source of one, or is there like heaven with Saint Peter? Or, like I also find hell being eternity to be, besides like scary, but also like sad. Like whatever you
Yeah.
did here, like for eternity, you're stuck there. Like that seems a lot. Like you can't just serve your sentence and move up. Like, like
Harsh,
so like, I
yeah.
get that. And then you learn about people and like even and not that like you should ever forgive anyone for like horrific things that have happened, but like rarely is there a good person who commits a horrific thing. But it's like a damaged person who was treated horribly and all they know is like but the things that they do are disgusting and crimes and they should be hung and whatever else is happening to them. That they were abused as a child and all they know is abuse and do that as an adult. Like that seems like a horrific punishment that like after a just punishment is being killed, and then the horrific
Yeah.
punishment is then staying in hell for the rest of your life or the rest of eternity. Like that just seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But I do think there's an afterlife, and I think that like I think we're all more connected than we're not.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think too, like life experiences mold the people that you are. So like I could never explain to you what it's like to lose a sibling, and I'm sure there's things in your life that I can't compare. Like because the feelings I got after my sister's accident, I could never explain them to anybody. So I didn't even know that the feelings were possible until they happened to me. And that
Right.
can just that's why I think I am the way I am now, where like I see this world, all the stuff we've talked about, like all the bullshit and stupid crap that goes on in this world. I see it, it's there, it's ridiculous to me too, but it's just like I realize how fragile life is at the same time. Like, and I want to enjoy it while I'm here. And I mean, I still get mad at dumb stuff. I still like, but I've learned to kind of take a step back, take it in, say, is this worth it? And then kind of let it go and just appreciate the good things, So that's why I don't like get into the politics and the stupid arguments and things that I know are just going to bring you down and then make you have an argument with somebody. That's why it's got to like appreciate shit.
Yeah, I try. Like, I have a temper sometimes. I don't really have it in
Okay.
public. It's more like inside the house.
have
And
to-
but that's like the people that I love the most.
Temper.
What's that?
I said it's the temper you get from being born on May 12th, 1981. I have the
That's
same
that's
one.
what it is. Yeah, but it's like the people that I love the most. There's times that I treat like the worst, and it's like how do I? But like they mean the most to me, and that's what makes my life happy. But then I don't give them the grace of like times that like things are said. I'm like, why would you like how dare you say that? But if like you said the exact same thing, I'm like, oh, Joe didn't really mean that, and like give you an excuse on why that was said, or like
Right.
take your tone different of it instead of being like, oh, what's that tone for? What's that tone for? I also think it's like kind of life and like that's like an immaturity that I have that I need to try to like grow over and like just seeing that. But I think there's the fragile things in life that make you appreciate things more. Like I've been very fortunate in my life for people that I have lost for the most part. The great most part have been like you've seen it coming.
Yeah.
That like my grandmother was sick for a long time with lung cancer. I had an uncle who was sick, and things like this. Like rarely have I lost someone instantly, and
Yeah.
in the two incidences that I've had with that, I had a neighbor who was a good friend, and they moved away, and he had two little girls that were about the same age as my two kids, and when they were moving, they just had a newborn, and they moved away for like 3 months, and we went to go visit them at their house and had pizza. And the next week, he's at a work meeting at lunch, and stands up and drops dead. And the
Right.
sitting, and this is this is in comparison, so whatever. Like you have this personally like happening. This is horrible in my experience. Sitting in that church, watching all the people who came out for him to like celebrate his life, to support his family. Like I thought that was really nice. But then like that was my own form of hell of sitting in there for that hour and a half and like watching his family have to like deal with this anguish of something that just happened.
Right.
Like I could like I've never wanted to leave somewhere so much, but being stuck somewhere, I was like in the middle of a pew,
Right.
and like then like selfishly like my feelings of like how it was like compared to like it was, I couldn't imagine. Oh, like I couldn't imagine hell being worse than where I was at that time, of
Yeah.
like feelings that you're subjected to, and there was time like just sadness, like waves of sadness for weeks and months after. Like I would just be standing on my kitchen counter doing nothing and just get like super fucking sad because like this person who was like one of the nicest people I ever met, like church going, helped, volunteered, all these things that like I wish I did that I don't, like
Yeah.
did, like lived the way that like I wish that I did, and like he's gone, like so fucking unfair and sad. And then animals. So you're talking about Pacino. So we had our cat Lily, and it was my wife's cat. When I met her, she had her for a year. So like that's the only pet I ever had in my entire life. I had a goldfish when I was
How old
4.
was the
17.
Oh wow.
So for 16 years, I knew this cat. And for the vast majority of the 16 years, like I just did the food, the water, the litter box, the random puking. So like we had our fights with whatever it was, but Lily was the best to the kids. Never once bit them, never once scratched at them. They would try to ride her like a pony.
Yeah.
They would grab her and all these things that like she hated. And then at night she would kind of let it out at me. Like if I pet her too much, she would nip at me or do whatever. Like I let her have that. And there was times like I just wanted to get rid of her. Like it was just like not worth it. Where you go on vacation, like if you have a dog, people are excited to like watch your dog or take your dog. Like, hey, can you come over to my house and like get on your hands and knees and clean up this animal shit and make sure that it has it and walk around, make sure it didn't puke any like it's not really this like selling experience. So like there was times like we've had to like cut vacation short or do whatever, or I've driven back and forth from the shore. They were down there for a week so I can drive up and check in on her and do stuff. And like I guess I resented her for whatever it was. But like the one morning she was fine. I came down, it was a Sunday morning. It's 6:45 in the morning. My son wakes up. He's like, hey, do you want to play a game of Fortnite? I'm like, yeah, man, no problem. I'm like, you let the cat out of the room? Lets her out of the room. We had her locked up because she liked to whine at people's doors at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So we had to lock her up, and but she had a whole giant room she was doing stuff in. So we're playing Fortnite, and like I just corner my eye, I see her jump on the couch with us, and I play a game. Like, hey man, I gotta do some stuff. Like I'm trying to play basketball at 9 a.m. So I get up and I see the cat get down, and so like it just didn't like click to me like what was happening. And so it was getting close to like 8 o'clock, and I was getting close to like wrapping it up to leave. And I was going to make sure Casey was up and running. And I walked by, and a place that she never lay down, that Lily never laid down. She was like halfway under a table and like not moving at all. And like if you ever walked by her and she like wasn't, even if she was asleep, she'd do like the Jurassic Park T-Rex, one eye would open, like kind of track you. And like, but like if she was awake, her head would pop up and track you. And like she's not tracking me. I'm walking back and forth now, staring at her. She's not tracking me. So I walk over to the side in front of her and I just snap twice and give like the pss, pss sound for her. And I was like, hey, Lils. And she got up to walk, and like the back half of her body was just like crooked. Like she was bent at like a 90-degree angle. And like it was like a horror movie like thing, like walking. Like I wish like I didn't even see it. And from then, like she couldn't sit down. And if she did get down, like it was really, so I got Casey, and I was like, something like horrible happening here. And I reached out to a guy in the neighborhood who's a vet and just texted him. I was like, hey man, like I'm not making the basketball. And I was like, and like my cat is either dead or close to dying. Like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Because we were calling the regular vet, but it's Sunday morning at 7:50 in the morning. Like, nobody's open, right? So just go take her to the 24-hour animal hospital in Mount Laurel. So like, just as I was watching her here and watching like the whole family be super sad as like she was, like if like released like feelings about her that I didn't know, and like so I took her to move on. That was the worst. Like Josh passing away was like really bad, but like being involved in this and like being the last person that like she saw and holding her as this was happening, and like just the sadness that like we still have now. It's been like a month. Like the sadness that you have for that, and like oh, there's a cup left on the table. I'm like, oh, I have to go get that. Like Lily will come get it. Like at the end of dinner, especially, like we'd lock her up, but then the kids would go in the other room, and like she would jump up and like try drinking their milk or knock it over, do all this stuff. And now the kids go in the room, and like mentally, I'm like, oh, we'd stop. I'm like, no, Lily's not here. Like I can take 5 minutes, not like running clean off the table, or there's plastic on the ground. They open a toy and it's like, oh, you have to get that. She's gonna chew it and puke. And it's like I still have those. It's only been a month, but like I still have those like reactions of like it's like really just sad.
They have an impact on your life, man. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
I think too when you lose anything that you really cared about, because well, on like a broader scale, with my sister, like she was my sister, so we had a very good relationship. There's times she pissed me off, but then when you lose them, all the bad goes out the window, and all you focus on just remember the good, the good, the good, and that's what I think was like the overpowering part of it. And like when you sit there and you think about it, like that's what you miss. All the other stuff is just baggage that you don't even care about. It's not even doesn't even come into your thought process. Because I remember me and my sister, we used to like to watch like Dateline in 2020 together. And I even said this in her obituary because I never forgot it. We were watching 2020 one day, and she's just like, somebody got murdered. Horrible story, or I don't remember what it was, but she's just like, they go into the victim, and she's like, how come when you watch these things, it's always the nicest person in the world that seems to die, the one who lit up the room and all this. And she looked at me, she's like, one time I just want to hear him to say like, yeah, Kathy got murdered. She was a bitch though. Like she was just like, I just want to hear someone who died who was a bitch. Like everybody's always so nice. So when I said that story in the obituary, I was just like, that's why, because right when you lose somebody, all the good in them is what you're overwhelmed with. You don't remember the bad. So that's what the first that just comes out with everything. So like we know Pacino's on his way out. Literally one of the best dogs. He never barks. He's the best dog ever. I don't know, we're going to be a mess. But he's a pain in the ass to take care of right now. He's pissing everywhere. He has mild dementia, so he doesn't know where he is sometimes. Like he'll think he's outside. He'll just take shit right in the middle of like our patio, like on the
Yeah.
cement instead of going out to the grass. And obviously, like it's a pain in the ass right now, but we love him, so we deal with it. And then we know it's coming. Like he can't see, he can't hear. He's not in pain though. Like he still likes to snuggle, and he just doesn't have his wits about him. He still eats. So something I put some post on like a Boston Terrier page when this first started happening, when he started having accidents, to see people's thoughts on what to do. And then like again, like we're saying with the Facebook, people are just saying, one lady told me it was a crime that I kept him alive still, that I should put him down. But I was like, he's just having accidents in the house. He's not in pain. He's still a happy dog. If he was in pain and like not eating, yeah, I'd put him, but he's okay. And all these people ripped into that lady, so that was nice. And I just deleted the post because I couldn't take it anymore. But
You're looking for real advice. You're trying to find someone who's at a similar situation, but like they
Yeah.
can't see that, and they have to like turn it into like what makes somebody respond to that. I just find that to be
yeah. Even when my sister's accident happened, there's a lady on Facebook too. Like the article came out, like accident there, and this lady didn't know shit about it. She just goes, "It's sad when people text and drive." That's what she wrote on the thing for my sister, and that's not what happened at all. And I didn't say anything, but this lady, I'm sure she's not dead. She's at least moved and changed her name. This lady got so much ridicule and hate, and I couldn't believe. And again, like I just deleted it. Didn't want to see any part of it. It's just like it takes a lot to just even voice your opinion. You can think whatever the hell you want. Why would you type it? Like, how does people so brain dead to think that, oh, this people want to hear this? Let me type it and put it out there.
But of
Shut
all
the
the
fuck
things
up.
that could have happened, and like you're so sure that it's that, but like car accidents happen all the time. Like it could have been a health emergency. It could have been a tire
Yeah.
blew out. It could have been,
But
anything.
you said she's like sad, but this is what happens when you text and drive, something along those lines, something like that. But
So whenever Pacino's ready to go, over the rainbow, Yellow Brick Road, wherever they say for the pets, do not go to Mount Laurel Animal Hospital. That was not great. Not great
No,
customer service.
nah, we're not gonna. We go to Medford now. We used to go to
Okay.
Mount Lowell, but we need your final show. We have to happy. Let's end it happy.
Happy ending. I hope the aliens land. I hope Bigfoot's driving a UFO.
Leave them on. That's when you'll start your show up again. When the aliens.
I'll come back with that, man. I enjoyed all this, and I'll come back. I'll have you on. We'll see if we can do a roundtable with some people and see what's happening, or anything big on the news comes on.
Should a Tamara round table.
World. And everybody can just tell me how dumb I am that the moon's real. Like, you've never been there, you don't know. But I've enjoyed all this. I think they're even just like with this nonsense of the moon or whatever. There's been more talks on the beach of people like, so what do you think about this? Or what about this? And it's just like stuff that like I loved growing up that I didn't have a lot of people to talk to. And now like I'm going out to like my hangout spot and people are like, hey, you want to talk about this? I'm like, yes, I do want to talk about that. Of course I do. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's
That's
been amazing.
amazing.
My wife has supported me through all of this. Scheduling was tough with a lot of stuff, and especially I had interviews at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm talking to people in England. I have interviews at 11 o'clock at night. So I'm talking to people in California, and they want to do it after their kids are asleep. So like it's tough to do that.
Yeah.
Putting this together was easier than I thought, but like marketing and having it be successful or like really take off and I'm terrible at marketing, so I think that's part of my problem. But like these kids who know how to do all these kids, I yell at a cloud, but like these kids who like have like social media at their fingertips and know how to make it, spin and whirl. Like, I think that's amazing. I am shocked at how many people have listened to this. I am shocked
Yeah,
at
me
the
too.
countries. I get rundowns on the countries. Dude, I've had like 50 countries listen to this. It's insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
My biggest episode was the guy who talked about MH370, flight MH370 that disappeared after it took off from Taiwan. And he found some videos online that he makes a good argument. I'm 99% there with him, that shows three orbs circling around the front of the plane and making it disappear. But that was my largest listen to podcast. And all the other ones I was shocked, even the ones that I thought, might take a little bit of coaxing to, didn't. And I was like, hey, it all worked out really good. And the best marketer.
People listen to us bullshit.
Yeah,
It's funny.
I'm surprised. I figure it's like people from the neighborhood, but then I'll see like downloads for like the countries for us, and like people are like fucking listening. So it's crazy. And the best marketing I had was the band Cross Keys. airs at midnight, 12:01 a.m. on Fridays. My episode comes out East Coast time, and at 6 in the morning, I woke up, and the Twitter marketing, whatever engagement person, he's in the band, but I interviewed their lead singer Josh. He had already listened to it because he was referencing specific points within the podcast, and like put out this like full long thing and put it everywhere. So then within that post, I love Gaslight Anthem, and they're a Jersey band, and I love Dave Hawes. So within that post, Josh put it out. He's friends with Dave Hawes. He's friends with guys within the Gaslight Anthem. He's played with them. So Hawes liked the post, and the drummer of Gaslight Anthem liked the post that I was in. I was like, that's fucking cool. Like I hit my goals.
Cool.
Yeah. So
man.
just cool that I met this guy. Thank you. So this guy who's in a punk band in Philadelphia, as I'm talking to him, he happens to know Mike Gessman. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
Oh, wow.
Like, so you just talk to people and people knowing people. Then I'm wearing that shirt. So I interview the guy. I get a shirt, Cross Keys t-shirt. I'm wearing it in Ocean City at Augie's restaurant on 9th Street. I'm sitting down and this guy at another table is like, hey man, nice shirt. I don't know what I'm wearing. I'm trying to like wrangle my kids to sit down, and it's like we're hungry and all this stuff. I don't even look down. I'm like, yeah man, thanks a lot. And he's like, he points to me. He's like, oh, I have that shirt. So now I have to look down and it says Cross Keys, and I'm thinking like, whatever. There's like Cross Keys Road and like Gibbsboro or fuck it is. Okay, maybe you think it's like an HVAC thing or something. Like, all right. So he's getting up and he's getting up to leave. He's like, I know all those guys. I played with Josh. I was like, dude, I just interviewed Josh on a podcast. So I talked to this guy, my buddy Rusty Pigeon, who now he was on the podcast. He lives in fucking town. Like we found that out. I thought he was in Philly. He's like, oh, I moved out to. So we're buddies now. Our daughter from the same dance class. Like it's just so crazy that like all this just like comes together just because I happened to reach out to a band that was on Dave Hawes's festival, and they got back to me. That now triggers this whole thing that I interview a guy that knows a friend of mine. Crazy, just a small world. I think it's just so cool, and that's what I liked about all this. Like people that I've reached out to. There's been people on this podcast who have been on huge podcasts, who have been on enormous podcasts. A guy was just on the Roseanne, the Flat Earth guy, Dave Weiss. I've listened to everything he's ever put out because he used to just do conspiracies, and now he's like full in the Flat Earth. But I've listened to everything he's ever put out. And do I believe everything? The conspiracy stuff was awesome. His show, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, was just awesome. And he went 100 some episodes. And I reached out to him. He's like, yeah, I'll come on. Now he's on Roseanne's podcast. I mean, he's been on bigger stuff than that too. Eddie Bravo's podcast, all this stuff. And it's like, dude, like people that I listen to on my own, like you're on my show. And I just found that amazing too.
That's why I give you credit too. Like, so a lot of people, like they say they want to do a podcast, but you went into it. The biggest thing is just actually getting the balls to actually just start it and do it and then stick with it. And obviously you're just been because of work reasons and stuff. That's probably just better for you and your family, which makes perfect sense. But I mean, you've gotten further than so many people who would have, even like the times where it was hard, most people probably would have quit. You kept doing it. I think it's cool. I didn't even like, I remember from the first episode to like now, like, I mean, a little more loose talking about it. I know you better than I did. I think most of our talking has been done through this thing. Yeah. But I think it's been cool, man. I think it's a pretty big accomplishment of yours too. And you can always come back to it if like maybe do like a seasonal show. Every season do a show, like 4 shows a year, something like that.
We'll have predictions for the new year coming up, and then have like the recap of the year. I love that recap of the year. So maybe you're definitely coming back for December, January. We'll recap 2024.
Sounds good, man.
We'll see if it all ended or not. We'll see if November has us all, one way or another. They locked everybody up.
It hasn't taken us yet, and the moon still doesn't exist.
So moon comes crashing down. So we'll see what happens, man. But dude, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. Anybody wants solar, they reach out to you. New Jersey, right?
New roof or anything really. I've given people money towards windows and landscaping, tree removal, just money in general. If you go solar, I can give you stuff if you're interested. So,
all right, where can they find you?
What'd you say?
Where can they find you? If somebody wants solar, what's the best thing? They want to email you, or do you want?
Yeah, they can email me. They can Facebook me. It's just Joe Fadule. I'm the only one on there. Fadule. And yeah, you can email me. I think you have that in the little show credentials thing.
Yep, I'll put that in there. They can reach out to you at the solar and get a new roof, man. Get some windows. People helping people. That's what we do here.
Thanks, man. Well, I appreciate it. And good luck to you in your new job.
All right. I'll talk to you.
Bye.
All right, everyone. That was our show. Don't forget to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcast. Like and follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date in all things wild and weird. Check out the links in the show notes for more information on our guest. The biggest support you can offer is to tell everyone about the podcast. Until next time.